Welcome to Winter Baseball, where I feel like we're in a position where there's not actually a whole lot going on besides the Dodgers signing every single player known to man. And so I wanted to have a little bit of fun. We've done in the past rebuilds like our White Sox rebuild, where we did our draft only rebuild, focused on building around that team and also adding in and trying to have some White Sox players. But today I just wanted to have a fun time, hopefully. And we are going to do a 0 overall rebuild today, starting with the Miami Marlins, who I have moved all their players. I didn't delete them, so they're just all over the place in random spots. But we are going to be doing a 0 overall rebuild, where we are also going to be making it a draft-only rebuild. This is one of the harder challenges I know in most sports rebuild and franchise modes, and I find it fun because it allows us to try to amplify all of our strategies that we've learned from every other video that we've done. We've talked a lot about draft strategies over the last several videos, and if this is the first time watching any of my videos, I'm going to walk through my strategy a lot here. But for those of you who are returning, I've talked a lot about draft strategies. When it came to our Giants rebuild, we went through a lot of our strategies there. You know, when I talk about team building and how we are going to amplify our team building, I've talked a little bit about what our optimal strategies, what things work best in Mlbtheshow. We learned that in our last video, that Moneyball, or as I called it, Moneyball's rebuild, where we had several teams and we kind of challenged and strategized around teams in order to get the best data. And I think that in this, we are going to try to use everything that we've learned so far in Mlbtheshow 24 to try to make a draft-only team that is going to succeed as early as possible. And the reason why I feel like this is essential too is we did make the Dodgers stacked. The Dodgers roster is as it is. It has Roki Sasaki, it has Blake Snell, it has all of the fantastic players they got in free agency this last season. And so that is going to be a team that is going to be fun to overcome. That's why we're also in the NL, because I do think that getting over that gap and trying to beat them will be a fun challenge every year to just try to get over. I mean, the NL is kind of stacked at the top end because of that, and because the Diamondbacks spent money. And so really, this is going to be a rebuild that is going to take a while. No free agency, no trades, no real roster management besides the guys that we have. And so I'm going to walk through some strategies that we're going to take as we build this team up. But really, we're going to see draft after draft after draft, which I think is one of the more fun parts of Mlbtheshow. The scouting is really enjoyable to do. The drafting is enjoyable to do. And so we're going to spend a lot of time on that in the first couple seasons, as we are going to attempt to win a World Series with the Miami Marlins with a brand new core of all players that we have drafted. And for Marlins fans, this is basically like what a normal Marlins rebuild would be anyways, because I bet you that by the time that they win it, they'll probably replace this whole team again, because that's just what they do. So, all right, let's go through some of the strategies and processes that I think we are going to use. And so the first thing is grabbing scouts, getting guys that we want to be able to help figure out how we are going to draft. I generally prioritize efficiency because I want to get as many prospects as possible. Early on, we are also going to focus more on pitching. This is also part of just because this is the scouts that I had available to me. Because I wanted to focus on the efficiency, the only times I could really get 90-90 matchups to get that bonus was with pitchers. So we have 2 pitcher focused, especially the Lombardo, who is only going to scout pitchers. And then we have 2 guys that can do position players as well, as we move around with the Ryder and Tate. There were no 90+ efficiency, 90+ position player scouts. I could get 89 efficiency, 89 players, but I figured I'd rather just get that extra efficiency and get the position players. So that is the scouts we're going to work with. We may change them as seasons go on. When it comes to coaches for development, there's no good like managers to start off with, but normally Jorge Marte is a very good guy because he has that power boost. You can get Anthony Cisneros for a while because he has the hits per 9 and walks per 9 boost. We focus on guys that actually benefit more of the defensive things, like Yamazaki with the reaction, Rod McDonald with arm strength, reaction, and arm accuracy. And then in the development, we get the reaction, arm strength, and clutch. We lose a little velocity, but that's fine. These are the coaches we would get. I will replace Jack McGrath when something comes up. Because this team is going to be cheap, we will probably try to see if we can pay like a Mark Kotsay a ton of money. As you start scouting, or as we start scouting, the first thing we're going to do is take a look around and see what positions have a little bit more value than others. The main thing we're going to prioritize is pitching, but starting pitching is something we're going to draft no matter what. Sadly, we're at pick 16, something I got because I chose the Marlins and not like Cleveland. But pitching, that is something guaranteed we are going to scout. I'm not worried about that. So which position players have the most value? Looks like in the top 100, we have a couple catchers that we can work with. Not a lot. 5 catchers in the top 100. First baseman, I see about 6, 7, a decent amount of first baseman. Not as many second basemen. Third baseman, I see 4. Shortstops, we have a couple. Left field, good amount there. Decent amount of center fielders and decent amount of right fielders. So as I look through them, I think the big thing then is going on and figuring out where they're at. Generally, the best way to scout is to focus on central as well as international. That is where the most players are. We can prioritize individual players when we have top picks. Say that we really liked Charlie Myers. Well, he's international, so we would scout international if that was a player that we wanted. Now, if we had somebody who, let's say they're 18, we want them, they're really good, Pennsylvania, this Eastern shortstop, maybe then we focus on Eastern shortstops once we get to that scouting range. Most of the time, I prioritize just focusing on scouting international and central because they have the most players to work with. So as we look through them, I think that is our main focus. The only reason I wanted to look through these positions is because this will help us determine who we want to make our positional needs and get the bonuses for. Starting pitching is going to be the priority there, but I think looking at them, there's a good chance we could go with a first base here because there were so many of them. But it also doesn't hurt to go outfield. Generally, early on, we want to go safer, guys that won't regress. So we are not looking to swing big because we don't want to have an 18-year-old playing in the league and wasting his years of service when the team's going to suck. So we actually want to go safer, further away, more 18-year-olds early on in the draft. And so I think I'll probably set this around like right field, left field, whatever. Now, this isn't always my strategy, but this is what we're going to be doing for this first one. This pitcher, Sean Lombardo, or the scout, is going to be our pitcher focus guy. He is going to be locked in as a starting pitching scout every year. He is going to always start for the first 5 weeks on starting pitcher international. Then he will go to starting pitcher central, and then he will go with relief pitcher international for the 15 weeks that we have him scouting. The other 2 guys are going to bounce around a little bit more. We start off by focusing on players and positions that look like they have more players at: left field central, right field international. Sometimes I might even use discovery in this case, but I think in the beginning of this, we're just trying to get talent on the team. Discovery and trying to find gems, not as essential as just getting players. So left field central, right field international as the big focus right now. We are shooting for trying to get these 18-year-old guys. These are going to be the first couple weeks. We are not going to hold these positions for 5 weeks. We might scout them for 1 or 2 until we have an idea of whether or not some of the players are worth spending more time on, and then we'll just rotate through positions. Rotate to shortstop international, first base international, and just rotate between them till we have a good caliber of guys that we've scouted about 10 to 15, I guess 30%. And then we will change the scouting process to having each of them focus on these individual players that we like. Say that we prefer Charlie Myers. I don't think we're going to get him because of pick 16, all that. But we might say, all right, he looks really, really good. We are going to take our prospect who's doing the whole position off him and change it to specifically Charlie Myers. I do this a little bit later too, as I look at like team prospects, or I guess I'd like to do all. And we shoot for a lot of the blues, but we might say find that Ted Haywood looks really, really interesting later on in the draft. We will then spend the time on Ted Haywood instead in his place. So a lot of this process is just finding guys that I find interesting. So I'm going to run the first couple weeks, see if we find some interesting prospects. So then when we look at, this is 2 weeks in, and I've moved them around a little bit. When we look at our prospects, we see that there's 5 right fielders in the central. This is the second one I moved it to. I just wanted to check. If I have scouts that look like this, Dion Gasper right here, nothing crazy. He's actually down in rank, and Haywood is down in rank. And I actually like Sam Paul. Could be interesting as a late pick. But because there's nothing interesting here that I would say are any risers or anything special, we don't have any non-ranked, we can't really get any extreme value, we would switch this off. I might look now and say, all right, who are all the right fielders? We did actually scout them the first time. This is what I was doing. And I do think that there are some interesting right fielders here. I like Robbie Marte specifically. I could scout him right now and try to get him finished, but I think we will wait and we're going to continue to get more value, look around a little bit, and we might go to center field. I haven't looked at center fielders, so if I take a look at center fielders, looks like we have Bragg from Pennsylvania, we have New York, California, Cuba, Pennsylvania again, California, Wisconsin, Massachusetts. So maybe we do center fielder east. Looks like there's plenty of East Coast center fielders. We will look at the East Coast. We generally prioritize this by position. And then I can look at the second baseman. Let's say that there was 11 here. This is probably a more successful position. And I can see a little bit more of a balance. We have some guys that are still in the middle, some guys that have gone down. Salgado has gone way up. This is a type of player I really love. No value at the top end by the rest of the league. He has value for us. Could be an interesting player to draft, but nobody else really seems to have anything special here. So there's a couple guys that we could look at. Once again, you look at like Salgado is a guy that I put on my list as a potential guy. If we wanted to look around at the rest of the second baseman, do we go after West Coast because of that Oregon guy? It's really, really good, by the way. Or do we move to a different position? Because we've got most of the second baseman. I think we move to a different position. South Korea, California, Tennessee, New York. Ooh, wow. Rank 73rd with all those blues? That'd be kind of hard to miss a Mike Edwards like that. Maybe we go East Coast here. Or we just focus on him because it doesn't actually look like any of the other guys from the East are good. So we might bookmark that guy, but we could go West Coast, first base, because that's the best players at those positions. We're going to go through one round, see which players end up being good, and then we will move on and move to the next position and move to the next position. Basically, I did the two right fields because I actually saw two groups that were pretty good in the right field. We were wrong on the second group. We'll do the same thing with shortstop, third base, catcher, and then we will start looking at individual players. And now that I've crafted a little bit of a pool of players for me to work with, what I'm going to do is then go find some of the interesting players I've bookmarked and try to fully scout them to see if they are going to be at individual positions. One of the benefits to scouting pitchers like the way that we do is if I look at recently scouted pitchers, we can actually start to kind of mark where we want to use them and where we value them. Drafting pitching is always a good option. There's never a spot where you can go out and say, I don't need a pitcher. Pitching is more valuable than anything else in this game and actually in baseball. And so getting good pitchers is more important than anything. So pitching is always number one option. So we can draft and scout as many just for every single position. The position players are the hard ones to get, and that's why we spend so much more focus on that. Because I look at pitching, William Watanabe, if he ends up being good, we're going to keep scouting him. Could end up being available at pick 17, has about that value, and also will probably not be drafted by then. We also look at Pedro Ojeda, I don't know how to pronounce that name, but he should be available because he's not ranked. I also look at a guy like Hoyt Merced, who could be drafted because his draft rank is 69th. We have him at 66th, meaning that we would probably need to take him at pick 55. If so, then this is a type of player that we would have to use there, and we cannot really get any position players around that spot either. So I use the pitchers as a good way to get an idea of where I might have picks for position players. Right now, it doesn't really look like there's any pitchers I'd want to use with that first pick 16. There are pitchers I could use with that second pick, like Merced or Ojeda, or I think C could be good. I think Ojeda is, honestly, Watanabe is the best because the walks per 9 is more important than anything, but the hits per 9 is pretty bad. And then Merced with a 90 to 95 potential is going to be amazing because he should develop to that point in his 30s. But that is probably pick 2. So that means that that 16th overall pick is a position player. That's something that we need to be looking for, a position player, if I don't find a pitcher in the Central. And so we're going to look around and look at our guys that we've scouted, some of the guys that we've bookmarked that we could possibly take there. One of the guys that I'm thinking is Reggie Bragg. From the first look, I like the power, I like the speed. Let's see, and we will scout him. I don't want to switch that guy. I want to scout with Brian Tate. I want to scout Reggie Bragg. And then another one, as we look through all of our guys around that ranking of 16, we can see that we have Charlie Myers. I don't think he'll be there at 16. We want to kind of scout a little bit behind the numbers for the MLB where they're at. I guess they have Escalera there. All right. I don't like him as much. We could look at some of the guys that are a little bit further. Tomas Domingo could be an interesting one in that spot. So I think because I don't necessarily know for certain right now, there's a lot of position players I haven't scouted fully yet. The other guy I really liked so far that we looked at is Leandro Salgado, who could be one of the later picks, that pick 96, 126, 156, somewhere in there. And I want to swing and see if he is actually going to take that spot in the draft for us. We're basically building our draft board this way. And based on that scouting, it looks like Reggie Bragg could valuably be that first pick. I wouldn't mind it. I'm going to scout him at one more time to make sure we get him to 100%. This is the thing with drafting 19, 18-year-olds is it takes 2 attempts to scout them to full. So it's why I generally draft 22-year-olds in most drafts, because it's just safer. But getting a high school player has the value of we will be able to wait on him a little bit longer for him to develop, and he'll still be young when we get there. So Reggie Bragg might be this top pick, but I also think Salgado has now guaranteed he will be a draft pick for us. I don't like his offense. I do like his defense, though, and so he could end up having some value for us as a late pick, that pick 126 or 156. So Salgado on the list. When it comes to pitching, now, do we know if Watanabe is going to be a good pitcher? Yes, that is likely also going to be our second pick. I know that he could be gone by 130, but he is also kind of a lock to me. Sierra could also be our first pick too. So we are now balancing between Willie Sierra, Philip Watanabe, and Bragg as options for that first pick. That is how I generally go through scouting. We would then change this. Because we now have most of them up, we are going to switch to Central, where the second most scouts will be, or players will be. And that'll help us get an idea. I'm also going to look at some of the other prospects. I think if I looked at some of our team rankings more than the other rankings, I'm going to look at some of the values that I can find. I think Jose Castro is an interesting one, has that same level of power that could be have a lot of value in center field. We are now looking around that pick 3, 96, 69, somewhere in that range, and seeing what guys we could get at each of those spots. Carmen Marquez is an interesting one right there. 81 to 97 means he's pretty safe. He is 21, doesn't have a lot of offense though. So I might look at Sandoval, but I don't think he's going to rise. Now Robbie Marte, on the other hand, 104, ranked by the league, 59 by us. This is a guy I should scout. He's above the rest of the board, so he's somebody who you want to put on your board. So we're going to try these guys and see if Reggie Bragg could potentially be a first overall pick for us, or pick 16, and that'll give us a couple options at least at pick 16 to choose from. Then another thing that I also do is then I start to look at the back end of the draft. We have pick 156 and 186. These are players where they are hopefully going to have high potential, maybe will provide some value. And so what I often do in order to do this is I look at the back end, I scout by all, and I've seen this by several different times because, or I've seen like this work in several different ways. Essentially what I've done most of the time is use Discovery to do this, but we're avoiding Discovery this first round because we have so many pitchers that we need to draft. So what I look at here then is I take the look at the guys who have blue potential, essentially guys who could have a high ceiling, who are somewhere in that around 200 rank for different positions. Catcher normally has a lot of these guys. You can see this with like Darren Morrison, though I don't think that he's going to be anything because he's unranked right now by everybody. And he's 22. He will never reach that potential. I could see it maybe happening with Monty Hewitt. We're going to try Monty Hewitt. Why not? he would be a little harder to get with that last pick, but he could still have value with the other pick. Another guy that I saw that I think had this was, I saw it with, I want to say, I'm blanking because I walked past him. Milton Copeland, not necessarily as great because of the low potential, but could still be a pick there. This is generally what I do at the back end of the draft. We look for guys that are non-ranked by the MLB, ranked for us, somewhere around that 200 ranking. And often you'll find it with a few positions more than others. In fact, normally I find it with second baseman most of the time, which is where we got Salgado to hopefully be, pick 126, pick 156, somewhere in there. And I didn't see it with a whole lot of other players this draft so far. I mean, maybe Michael Gallagher could be that. But I think we'll scout this left fielder. He could also end up being nothing. Milton Copeland. But maybe he will be something. And so after scouting, then we go through and we look at a lot of our players that we have options for that we could possibly take. I generally then go through like each position and just find the guys that I think are interesting, and hopefully some of them will be left on the board by the time we get to them. The top guy we had on our board was Willie Sierra, the pitcher, who could be really, really good. Did not fully finish scouting him, but honestly, I feel like it's hard for him to miss. Don't like the walks per 9, but a second-ranked guy, you just got to take that swing if that's possible. He's 18 as well, which is a benefit. Watanabe's good, and we might be able to wait on him as well. This is another pitcher I really, really like. Definitely a guy I would like to get. Ojeda is somebody who we are going to have to wait for. Hopefully that his non-ranked status will allow him to be able to sit there for a while before we end up needing to take him. When it comes to some of the central guys, I saw Steve Bryant. These are the older pitchers. Steve Bryant and Hoyt Merced were somewhere in there. Both really, really high potential guys. They'll take a little bit to develop, but not long. They'll be in the league in not too long, but I also don't think either of them will be available for us. I could see both of them being drafted before we get the chance to take them. We're going to be pursuing a lot of the non-ranked draft rank guys like Calero here or Shelley here, or Nate Bloom is definitely a guy I would like to get. He's older and has high potential as well. And then we have some relievers. I see Guillermo Escobar right here. Could be a fantastic reliever for us. Maybe our eventual closer. There's a couple guys like that. When it comes to position players, we have Reggie Bragg. This is the top position player I think that we could get. I think Robbie Marte is an interesting one. He is somebody who could rise up the board. I like the contact. He's the type of player I would like to have as well. When it comes to catcher, we saw Monty Hewitt was one of the later ones. Could be valuable for us too. Catcher is a position of need. Steve Roberts was one of the guys that I looked at. We scouted him directly because of his profile, and he looks like a fantastic contact bat. Gets on base. That's what I want to see. Steve Roberts is a guy I would love to be able to draft. Don't know if he'll be there though. Salgado should be. Not good offensively, but has that type of potential. Domingo is kind of closer to Roberts. You can see that a lot of this is built off draft rank. There's not a lot of position players. We are betting on trying to get a pitcher early with that first pick, then trying to go a couple position players with our seconds, and then pitching for pretty much the rest of the draft. So as we start the draft, we're basically hoping that these guys that we had on our board are not going to be guys that we would pick. See, Charlie Myers is one of the guys we looked at. He goes pick 1. So we were never going to be able to get him, which sucks, but that's just because we had pick 16. Spindler was not a guy that we scouted. He was injured anyways. Not bad. We're really just hoping for it to be Willie Sierra still being around. I would hope that he would be, but pick 16 is Willie Sierra going to be around? He is not. So Willie Sierra is gone off the board, but that means that Watanabe and I believe Bragg is still available. And because of that, I think Bragg has a little bit more value than Watanabe. I think that's what we're going to do. We're going to go Reggie Bragg with our first pick of this draft. And then the hope is that we can get Watanabe with the second pick. We can. All right. So, but do we go Watanabe here or Merced? because Merced is still available as well. Or do we take another position player? Robbie Marte is still here. Steve Roberts is still here. All right, we're going to do it. We're going to take Steve Roberts here. Now, who is available with this next pick? Please let my risk-taking on Watanabe work out. He is. All right, we're taking Watanabe. Not waiting any longer just to be safe. Ojeda's still there. And Marte is gone. Okay, so we got some position players. So we're going to actually take Ojeda here. Unless, yeah, because I don't think this is the really good reliever. No, it's not. So because of that, and Julio Chavez is pretty good too. But I believe it would be better to take the risk on Ojeda, just knowing that pitching is more valuable. Then we will go Calero or Salgado. I think because we've scouted Salgado all the way up, I would rather have him. And look at Calero's still there. We'll take Calero. And with our last pick, we have an option. We can go with Nate Bloom, who I think is a fantastic pick. Yeah, let's go Nate Bloom. All right, I think that'll be a good draft. Now, can we sign them all? This is some of the question whenever you decide to generally wait a little bit on drafts and say, I'm only going to scout them for 1 or 2 weeks. We don't have as much progress. Will we be able to sign all of them? And so as we take a look at our first round of draft picks, I think we did pretty well. I think Reggie Bragg is the biggest miss here. He's a power bat, and 84 potential is not necessarily super high, but we'll take it. He's 19 years old. He already is pretty good. We'll see what he can do, because basically I feel like you have to manage these guys a lot in order to make sure they stay good. But 84 potential, not bad with our first pick. Steve Roberts was pretty good. Good contact, 89 potential. Love to see that. Philip Watanabe is an ace. Amazing pick there. Glad that he lasted that long. We could not wait any longer. Had to take Watanabe. Ojeda, pretty good, 85 potential. Salgado, 89 potential. Calero was one of the bigger misses, 78 potential. Probably won't end up being anything substantial. But Nate Bloom was good at 86 potential. I do want to see if we made any mistakes on any picks. Oh, Darren Morrison had 86 potential. That was that that catcher that was non-ranked. Oh, cool. I don't think he'll ever reach it because it's 41 overall. But yeah, Willie Sierra was very good. So, okay. We didn't get him, but he did get taken early. So we no skin off our back, I guess, with that pick. There's nothing we could do about it. But he was really, really good. So looking at our scouting, I think we did a pretty good job in identifying that he was going to be very good. I'm more looking to see if we made any big misses. I don't see, I mean, maybe some of the pitchers here. Randall Hopp, that's a closer. I don't care about that one. Missed Randy Mooney, but I don't think it's that big of a deal. Steve Bryant was one of the pitchers we looked at. I think Watanabe was a better pick anyways, so we'll take that. And Hoyt Merced, 92, but once again, Watanabe was a better pick, so we'll take it. And I don't think that we missed that hard on that second pick either. So that's not bad because we got a position player. Robbie Marte. Better than Steve Roberts, but I'll take Steve Roberts. I don't mind that. I don't think there's too much of a difference. Those were the two guys we were bouncing between there. I think we made the right pick there. I don't see any other big... Kennedy? I don't know who that is. Potter, don't know. Marquez. Domingo was very good. Okay. All right. Good to know. Good to know. See, one thing that I do a lot is I like looking through these because it helps me get an idea of what I'm missing. Sometimes part of the reason you miss guys are just because of your strategy not working. Sometimes you miss guys because you're looking at the wrong things. So far, it looks like pretty much every guy we missed was because we made a different pick instead, or we didn't scout, or the West as much. And that's part of our strategy. If we missed because we didn't scout the West, that's okay. That's something that comes into our strategy. Now, Monty Hewitt, probably should have taken him with that that pick when he was there. Though 46 overall, he might not have made it. Look it's a guy that we scouted, was on our board, could have been that pick. And catcher is really important. But 46 overall, I don't know if he'd make it to being a major league catcher anytime soon. You kind of got to get catcher a little earlier, but it's not bad. And this is the one miss I'd say we'd made, and that's not bad to miss on your 5th or 6th round pick. So very, very good draft for us, and we'll get right into the next one. And a clean 0-162. That's exactly what we wanted to see. I do want to see something, because I noticed a couple sims where we had some crazy numbers from some of the teams. Just like some numbers in some individual games. You can see that like the Phillies, for example, made it as the 1 seed over the Dodgers because they're in our division. They won 105 games. And look at how many runs scored. 1,400. I think they had a good year. Now, let's take a look at league leaders. I bet you Phillies. Alec Boehm, Max Kepler, Bryce Harper, Christian Yelich, Real Muto. You could tell this is the fun part I think about this, is that means that basically there were 2 good games. It was the Phillies and the Brewers that beat us, and the Mariners must have had a good game against us too, because I would expect that Victor Robles and Graham Pauley, or whatever his name is, Donovan Solano wouldn't normally be major hitters in the league. Like 238 hits for Alec Boehm, 227 for Victor Robles. How about home runs? 59 for Jackson Chourio, 58 for Schwarber, 54 Pete Alonso's on the Mariners. Did they have crazy games? Let's take a look quick. Oh. Yes. The Brewers. Yeah, it doesn't go past a certain number. Some of them are crazy to me. And the Phillies right there. Yeah. Yep. So the Brewers, Phillies, and I think the Mariners are the ones who went on the runs against us right here. Yeah. Yep. Those are the 3 teams that really, really crushed it against us. Victor Robles had. How many hits did Victor Robles have in this game? It doesn't say. He had 12 doubles, 3 triples. I just find that funny. I love how weird those numbers get. Jackson Chourio gets the MVP because of that. Randy Arozarena gets the MVP on that side. Zach Wheeler with the Cy Young. Victor Robles with the batting title. Alec Boehm with the batting title. Trevor McGill with the reliever of the year. Yeah, they're just fun numbers. Who's gonna win the whole thing? Twins defeat the Dodgers in the World Series. It's crazy the White Sox still only won 45 games. This is the most important part of all of our rebuilds. Do we win the lottery? I mean, every season, this is going to be the question. No. And so coming and looking at 2025's drafts, trying to figure out how we want to, I guess, balance out our picks. A lot of it is, once again, looking at the top. We have pick 4. We also do have pick 35, a nice compensatory pick to be able to work with, meaning that we are going to be being able, we're going to be able to bring in 7 guys again. That's helpful. We need more position players, and pitching is still essential to add to the team. I think we've got about 3 starters from last draft, and the question is, can we continue to hit at that rate? I look at a guy like Carmen Juarez, could be very good. I don't think he'll be there, but look, there's 2 center fielders here, Juarez and Soriano. I don't think either of them are going to be available, but it doesn't hurt to try to pursue getting a center fielder. I can see third base has a couple guys as well, and so I think what we're going to do, just seeing how many third basemen, how many center fielders, is those will be the positions we are going to pursue this season. We're going to say that we need a center fielder and we need a third baseman. We always need starters. And so this draft, I think what we're going to do first is scout a international center fielder, because I saw both of those guys. It'll allow us to try to balance out both. And then I saw a couple third basemen. And so we'll probably look at these West Coast third basemen as well, because there was a couple of those to work with. Willie Mota, and Darren Polino. There's probably a couple other guys that are available somewhere in the middle. Looks like we got some central guys too, but we'll do West there. And I think this draft is all about hitting big on the top, seeing if we can get a core member of this team to end up being a stud. I want like a power bat on top of the Reggie Bragg pick. And so we want a good, well-rounded offensive weapon, and then continue to build a bunch of pitching. We could get some bullpen arms, hopefully, later in the back end of this draft. And so I don't want to miss any picks. We need to stay consistent. No real focus on discovery yet. We want to make sure we hit every pick. Even Bs are better than Cs and Ds. I focused a lot more on the back half of the draft this season, and that's because I found a lot of guys near the top that I really liked, and a few guys that swung up really, really high that are going to be able to get in the middle. So we first need to look at pick 4. In every draft, I feel like you need to have as many options as the picks ahead of you. So I feel like we have 4 options for pick 4, with them layered in preference. Oliver Soriano is my number 1 option. Big contact, good vision, perfect type of bat for me. Doesn't have a lot of power, doesn't matter. He will get on base. That is my number 1 choice. The number 2 choice to me would be Willie Mota. Same type of concept, though third baseman, also very good defensively. So he's 19, not as big of a ceiling as Soriano, but also very, very good. Third option to me, Carmen Juarez. Not as good of a player. I think he's more all around. He's 18. I don't think he's going to be as good as the other 2, but he's 18. Could end up being really good. I just don't know. When we scouted him, he didn't end up looking as generational as he did when we first looked at him. So I don't think he's going to be anything crazy, but could still have a lot of value. And then there is a pitcher in Ron Hunter, just in case. Now, I'm hoping that we see one of the other teams take a pitcher so I can get one of the bats. Now, there's a couple other guys that I think are also very good. Brett Stinson is, non-ranked by the rest of the draft, 15 for us. I'll wait a couple rounds for him and hope that he ends up slipping. But second base again. Second base is a position you can get a lot of really good guys at. And he's a 6'5" second baseman. Dude could be a beast. And he has the traits that I like. Good contact, good vision. This is a guy I want a lot of too. Otherwise, we do have a lot of these non-ranked guys and big swings. Now, Bernardo Benitez is a type of player I need to get. I kind of have to draft him. Catchers are hard to come by, and so we need to get a catcher when we have the chance to. Obviously, if we have a first overall pick, you take that catcher over this. But Benitez is a good defensive catcher. If anything, he will be a good bench catcher once we actually find a good catcher for us. There's other guys that are still good. I think Calzado could be good, but he's a late pick. I see Jason Hurley right here could be decent as a unranked guy, high potential for us. Cal Kurtz, unranked, high potential. Brian Lorenz, also fantastic pick, though not more all around as well, 91 to 96 potential. And then we have Jackson Serna Ruiz, who's unranked, decent potential as well. So we have a lot of guys here that could be the pick. And the question is, what are the 3 teams ahead of us going to take? Can we get one of these 3 bats? That's what I want. I don't want to see anything else. So Soriano goes number 1. That's disappointing. But, okay. Please, one of you take a pitcher. I just need one of you to take a pitcher. Okay, all right. Sweet. They took Jimenez. That means we'll get one of the bats. Preferably Mota. Please take Juarez or something else. All right, sweet. We are going to get Willie Mota. That's the type of player I'd rather have than Carmen Juarez. We now have a third baseman. As we move to the next pick, Stinson is still there. But I think as we look, we can take a couple different guys here. I think Benitez is more important than any of the other players. I should check quick to see if there's any other guys that snuck up that I didn't put on my board. 2 guys that have some injury risk. Yeah, I think because the injury risk, we won't touch them. And yeah, all right. I think we're going to go with Benitez first. I just need to make sure I get him. He's more of a necessity And then Stinson is still there. Perfect. And then we draft Stinson right there at pick 39. I know we could have waited longer, but I just can't take that risk. All right, next pick. Looks like there's a couple guys here. I think I want to try to hit this reliever more than... Oh, Kaminsky or the reliever? I think we'll go the reliever first. Or do we take Lorenz? No, we're going to take Lorenz, actually. I guess we're going to kind of build out our bats here. And look, we can get either the Kaminsky or the reliever. I don't necessarily know if Kaminsky's going to be good. The reliever does, though. 20, 18. We're taking the reliever. Chad Jenkins. Kaminsky's still there. Perfect. We get them both. And we can take Cal Kurtz or Jason Hurley. 21, 22. They're both pretty far off. And we go with Dave Dell. We're going to go Jason Hurley. I think we did pretty good right here. Willie Mota. I mean, it's all blue besides the one player who I said we were getting based off positional need. This is the only time we didn't draft a guy simply because of our value. If anything, that's the only questionable draft pick I think we made here. I think we made the right picks across the board. Willie Mota, 88 potential, third baseman, good contact, good vision, really good with, Brett Stinson, second baseman, 93 potential. The second base is going to be a hard position to balance. We've got a lot of guys that can play that. And I think we're going to have to start looking at outfielders as well because of that. Benitez, by the way, not bad. He's 81 potential, still will be a very valuable catcher, just will be more of a defensive catcher. We will have to draft another one. Chad Jenkins was very good, 87 overall reliever. I'd like to have a good reliever because I think that's going to end up being like our closer. Brian Lorenz, 95 potential, fantastic bat. He's a little older. He's 23, but I think that's okay. Kaminsky's a 92 potential pitcher. He is missing a lot of traits. He's got a long ways to go, I think, before he ends up being any value, bringing any value, but still could be good. And same thing goes for Jason Hurley, who has 87 potential. I do want to check. We have to see those other top guys. Did we miss on any of those? Are there any players that I feel like we should have taken instead? Whoa, okay. So Juarez was generational. Should have taken him. He just didn't look like it, right? I mean, when you looked at his traits, I guess that's the thing. Like, he did not look generational whatsoever. His stats were kind of average across the board, but I guess because relative to each other, they were all average. I should have known that Carmen Juarez was that good, but yeah. I think we're okay. I think Moto will be fine, but it does suck to miss out on a generational guy in Carmen Juarez. But he didn't look like it. I feel like, I mean, let me know in the comments down below if you think like Carmen Juarez did not look like a generational guy to me at all, but I guess he is. So good for them. No, Eric Eller. I didn't see either of those guys. Don't think we missed on anybody there. Don't see. There's Milton Johnson. Good thing we didn't take him. Estrada. Nope. Ooh, who was Jose Mesa? California. Didn't scout the West Coast second baseman. That makes sense. Dave Dell. Ooh, that would have been a better pick. Not like we missed that hard on that last pick, but Dave Dell. Ooh, 96 potential pitcher. This is just kind of a pretty stacked class, it looks like. I don't think that like I can get too mad. We had a great draft. Some of these guys are really, really good in this class. Ron Hunter, 93. Very, very good there. And then what was the other guy? Soriano, 88. So only really missed is Carmen Juarez and Sam Dell. So, okay. We need a catcher next year. I do think we need a catcher. I think the Benitez pick might have been a little bit of a risky move. Didn't really make a whole lot of sense besides the fact that I'm afraid of running without a catcher. But let's get a higher pick next year. Not like that would have mattered. We still could have got a generational guy, but just didn't look like it to me. Just didn't look like it. MVP for the 2025 year was Juan Soto, and based off of second MVP, I believe that the Cy Young goes to Hunter Green for the Cincinnati Reds. And on the AL side, you see Kyle Tucker for the Royals made it and won the MVP. And on the Cy Young side, Tariq Skubal for the Detroit Tigers. We did win 3 games this season. It's because all the starting pitcher Joe Randoms retired, so I had to bring in like there just weren't any, so I just signed a bunch of 40-year-old pitchers, or like the oldest pitchers I could get. Verlander, Rich Hill, Cueto, Baumgartner, and Greinke. Cueto got a win. Verlander got a win. Who else got a win? Lance Lynn got a win. So yeah, we did win games, but it's not going to change much. 3-159 for the postseason. Let's see who wins the whole thing. The Tigers defeat the Reds in the 2025 World Series. To think that, like, next year. I mean, that's kind of crazy. Come on. Give us good odds. I don't really think it matters, like I said, because we might not make the right pick anyways. But, number 1. What? This season, we are going to start by putting our focus on catcher, outfield, and starting pitching. I think the primary goal is to get as many pitchers as possible in this draft. I've actually ran out of Joe Randoms. I think there's 1 Joe Random left for pitchers. So I've got all of the oldest pitchers in baseball on my team. We might win more games. But one of the reasons I'm signing all the old guys is because at least they'll retire. They won't be mixed up and they won't develop. They'll all regress. And so why not just give them a last shot, whatever, and then let them retire. I don't have to worry about like getting stuck with a contract or anything for long term because they'll retire and cut their deals anyways. So we need to stockpile pitching this draft. I think we had pick 7. That's unlucky, but we'll have another terrible year, and then we will almost be able to field a major league team probably about 2 years out. And that'll make it nice and easy. Looks like we found a catcher, Sergio Reyes. He'll be ranked 3rd. As long as he's there at pick 7, we'll take him. He's a power bat catcher. Oh, I love it. Might not hit for a lot of contact, but this is Gary Sanchez. Now, this is a draft where it kind of sucks that we actually don't have the number 1 pick, but it's more for safety reasons. I do think that we got the right guy there with Sergio Reyes if he ends up being available for us, but there looks like there's a stud pitcher in Rich Walters here, who is the guy who will probably go number 1, number 2, number 3, somewhere in there. Dan Maloney is a pitcher who might be available for our 2nd pick, but also a backup safety pick if we do not get Sergio Reyes, our goal, and hopefully the catcher. Now, he did opt out, but this has got to be our catcher. There are a couple other guys, a lot of pitchers, a lot of starting pitchers mainly. There's a few relievers as well that I saw. Nino Cruz, or I believe it's just Nino. Nino Cruz is, could be phenomenal for us. I think that's a guy you have to take if possible. But the ceilings aren't as high. There's some guys like Luis Sanders who could be. Charlie Diaz doesn't have as high of a ceiling. I do see Fernandez here has a decent ceiling, but I don't know if he'll be there. He also opted out once again. There's some relievers here. Henry Nomo could be very good. He's got non-ranked. Steve Neely is non-ranked. There's a couple bats that I think are good too. Ashton Singleton here at 123. Rafael Guzman here at 199 could be. He's really nothing, but last pick possibly. Brady Campanella is a good pick. Somebody who we should get. He looks a lot like Salgado did, but I would still take that. You still want to get that level of value. He's 23. He'll be available pretty soon. Mike Webb is all right. AJ Kapotic is all right. Nice utility bat, it looks like, mainly defensively. Miguel Melendez is a good player that I would love to have, good defensively. And then I see Keaton Saito's all right. But look, bats aren't really that crazy. We're drafting pitching, and that was kind of the goal this year. So Sergio Reyes and then all pitchers. That's what I would like this to be, with possibly Campanella or Singleton somewhere in there. So let's start our draft and see how it goes. Please let us be in a position where they don't take Reyes. That's the only guy I necessarily care. Oh, what the? Yikes for them. Colin French did not look very good to me. David Beam. Okay, people are going for bats. Don't touch Reyes. That's my bat. I need Sergio Reyes. Sawyer By. That was a guy who I thought could have been generational. All right. And he didn't go. Let's go. Rich Walters did. Sergio Reyes. We have our catcher. All right. Next pick, please let Dan Maloney still be there. He is. Easy pick then. We're going to take Dan Maloney. So our next pick, this is where I guess I asked the question. I'll look at some of the prospects here. There are other starters like this and Chad Keller. Might wait a little bit on that one. Thjs we could wait a little bit on. Do we take a Nino Cruz here? Do we go and actually get one of the fielders? Do we go get Singleton? Do we get Campanella? Do we get Melendez? Actually, I should check. Are Melendez and Campanella still there? The problem is they just don't have bats. Like, is it really worth me getting if I don't think they're going to be productive players? And I'd be willing to say that no. I think we should probably just draft pitching. If this is what the draft looks like, let's just really rock out with as much pitching as possible. Oh, yeah, that's what I like to see. All right, across the board, amazing for us. Sergio Reyes has 94 potential. I said Gary Sanchez. I think we mean more Salvador Perez than anything. So Sergio Reyes is going to be an absolute stud for us at catcher. This is awesome. Dan Maloney, 88 potential at starting pitcher, is going to be good. Nino Cruz, 95 potential at starting pitcher. You've got Chad Keller here at 86. You've got Andres Diaz here at 86. And then you've got Ashton Singleton at 94 potential first baseman. Henry Nomo was the only pick that I think wasn't great, 78. But that's a reliever. That's fine. This is an amazing draft. I was concerned that we were going to have a bad one. Not bad at all. I do want to check through. Sawyer By was generational. Okay. All right. Good to know. So I should be looking at some of these guys because that's the second time that's happened. I saw this guy as a prospect and he looked bad. He didn't look good when I scouted through him. And that's the second time that's happened. Wait, the Nationals got them both? Oh, that's not going to be fun. All right. But anyways, so, okay. Oh, we don't get to know if Luis Sanders was all right. Okay. So I really wanted to see him. Miguel Melendez was good. Don't think there were any other big ones that I want to check out. Saito? Okay. So Keaton Saito would have been a better pick than Nomo. But honestly, we need relievers. So, you know what? I'm not mad. I think that we did a phenomenal job in our scouting and drafting. Oh, Mike Webb. What? Mike Webb was a 93 potential? Can I just draft every guy I scout? Like every guy that I put on my board, can I just draft them all, please? Because apparently we've been doing phenomenal in that category. Rich Walters. Okay. But we still end up knocking it out. Campanella at 95. Oh my God. Okay. This is, I mean, we did all right. We didn't take Campanella. Instead, we got two pitchers. We got Nino Cruz and Chad Keller. Maybe Campanella would have been better, but we don't need that position. So, yeah. I think we're a step closer. We'll see if, I think next season we might see some of the bats be able to come up and play in the majors. Though, whether or not I want them to is a different thing. So, let's go get another team. We've got a lot more pitchers. I think we can finally field a rotation. It's just, can we build a full team now? Next season, we will get there. I think we're at 21 guys. You need 26. So let's go and put it together. We're really racking up the seasons there for the Phillies and the Mets. Bryce Harper gets a MVP in 2026. Pete Alonso, another like really good season for him. MVP for Seattle. Cy Young, Screwball again, and Cy Young, Zach Wheeler. The Twins win another one, defeating the Padres. We actually haven't seen the Dodgers win any yet. I'm going to jinx that, by the way, because the Dodgers are 100% then going to win all the rest of them. They not even make it? What? They didn't even make it? We did win 17 games, like I said, pitching, all that. The Dodgers didn't even make 86 wins? What? How? How did they not make the playoffs? All right. Whatever. Can we get the number 1 pick this time, please? Big money, no whammies. Big money, no whammies. Give it to me. Please. Pick 1. Please. Yay! Wahoo! Our first player that's going to be up, Pedro Ojeda. He's going to come up here in 2027 and pitch. He seemed ready. He was really, really good in AAA last season. So he will be our first major league player, Pedro Ojeda, this season. Let's see what he can do. Nothing like drafting a catcher last draft and finding an absolute stud catcher once again. It's going to be a tough decision on how to use our first overall pick. I mean, I'm glad that we have the number 1 overall pick in this draft, but I also don't think we're in a good spot for the rest of the draft. It is a very weak draft, top heavy. There are a couple guys here. Bobby Turner, really good pitcher. Could end up being an ace for us. You also see Matt Snell, another potential ace pitcher. And then Andres Madrid. Jarrett Fenner here, stud first baseman. I think there's a lot of guys here. We also looked at Freitas, who just looks like can't miss, right? But he's a catcher. Do I really need another catcher? I don't know. So many fantastic guys at the top of this draft, but I'm going to tell you, it really weakens out. I do think there's some guys we can get late. Look at Hank McAtee. I really hope that we can wait a little while to get him because he's non-ranked. But 80 to 85 overall, 82 to 87 potential. This is a major league player right now. Eddie Julio's good, I think, but like the way that I can tell that this is not really great of a draft is that this guy's ranked 50th on our board with 70 to 85 potential. So I would expect us to get a lot of misses at the late half of this draft, which sucks because our whole goal right now is to just stockpile talent. And so as we look at the draft, I think I'm going to take Freitas number 1. I know I don't need him. I know we could probably use pitching more or Fenner more, but this guy just looks amazing across the board. Great contact, great power, great vision. He looks like an insane bat. And I'm bound to be wrong because watch, like Chris Townsend will be a generational guy, or Fenner will be a generational guy. I know that they will be, or Turner. Actually, Snell probably is the actual generational guy. This is so hard. I'd be curious who I think is actually the right pick. We just take Snell. Do we take Snell? You know what? We're taking Snell. Never mind. I'm not missing. He's the number 1 overall guy. We don't need Freitas. I'm taking him. Matt Snell. Number 1 pick for us. Starting pitcher. This should be our ace. I'm going to regret this. I almost hate having the first pick. Because whenever you do, you just like, there's so many guys. And you get mad because you're like, I could have taken this guy. I could have taken this guy. And we'll see. Oh my God, I don't know if this draft is very good. So we'll have to see. Where did Freitas go? Oh, wow. Big 12. All right. So as we look at this, I do think then we have to take McAtee. I will check quick, make sure there's no other guys that are really high on the board that we won't be able to get later. We go reliever here because I can't get that guy later. You know what? Actually, let's do something a little different. McAtee will be our next pick. No, we can't miss him. We can't miss him. Drafting Hank McAtee. Now we're going to take Chavez. And please let Eddie Julio be there. He is. Ooh, this is going to be a bad draft. This is going to be a bad draft. I can tell. Is there any other talent at the top end here? I mean, Willie Reyes? I don't know, man. This is not good. Caruth. I don't think either of these guys are good. Matt Snell was 100% the right pick. 98 potential, 71 overall. We'll take it at number 1. We have an ace pitcher in the rotation. And as we look through the rest of it, I think we did decent. I was concerned about this being a really, really bad draft, but there's still a lot of greens here. A little disappointed by Hank McAtee. Would have liked a little bit more out of him, but 79 overall already, 81 potential. He will be playing in the majors right away, right off the jump. Would have liked a little bit higher potential, but we'll take it. Mauricio Chavez had a decent draft right there, 86 potential, 53 overall. 81 for Eddie Julio. Once again, lower end, not necessarily anything great. Caruth, 76. Meh. Cortez, honestly, for taking a swing, 84 potential, I'll take it. That's just a random guy. I don't think he'll be anything special, but I'll take that. And then Montano, another great last pick, 93 potential. You can see these guys are really far away. They're nowhere near, but we'll take it. I do want to go look. There's a few guys that we didn't take, and I want to see where they're at. So the big one is that catcher. I think he was the Astros. Oh, wow. All right. Okay. We did get the best player. We got the best player. Snell was the best player in the draft. We made the right picks. Andrew Marte. I feel like I recognize that name. Townsend, 85. Yeah, we made the right pick. Matt Snell. We have an ace pitcher. Ojeda was bad, so we send it back down. He'll get another year of rookie eligibility. Next season, we will see him up because I believe we don't have options. So he will be up next year. We're going to give him a shot. In fact, a lot of guys are going to be up next year, I think. As I look at our roster and where everybody was at this season, I think that we actually have a lot of guys who could come up. Calero, I think that Watanabe could come up. I just love the walks per nine. I just don't know if I like everything else. He's starting to look more like a long reliever simply because that stamina is so bad. But I don't want to put a guy with that much potential as a long reliever and like lock him into that type of thing. But anyways, Maloney does not look good yet. He doesn't give up hits, but he walks way too many guys. Has not necessarily been great yet. And I see that from like Diaz as well. So I think we could next season give us, I need to make the judgment call on whether or not we're going to go. I think we wait one more year before we go fully into the majors. I'll see. Ojeda is going to be the one that I think is the question mark. We've kind of ran out of 30-year-old pitchers or 35-year-old pitchers to throw into the lineup. So we'll see what we can do. I think Jenkins could possibly, just that once again, that walks per nine is not good. Nomo is nowhere near coming up, though actually his stats almost look better. And for bats, I will say this. They actually have looked good. Stinson, I think, could be coming up. I don't think we will. Salgado is the one who hasn't been good, but we know he never really will be. Steve Roberts has been good in Double-A. Moda has been fantastic in Triple-A. And I think Bragg is struggling, but Lorenz has been good. So we're kind of balancing a little bit across the lines from everybody. McAtee, maybe we put McAtee in AAA, and then we go to the majors in 2029. I think that's going to be the plan. One more year where we basically just kind of roll with a terrible roster, and then I think we bring as many guys that are ready up at the same time and fully roll out, see what this team actually looks like. MVP goes to Strider, another guy in our division. Cy Young goes to Strider, another guy in our division. AL, Joe Ryan, and Gunnar Henderson. And the Brewers defeat the Mariners, meaning the Dodgers still not there. Who cares how much money you spend? You don't need to spend a dime. Did we just get a chalk roll? I don't think I've ever seen that.
I'm going to be honest, because I don't really want to spend a whole lot of time on this draft as we're getting a little closer and these guys are going to take longer to develop.
Apologize for the voice change. That's what happens when you record music and record videos at the same time in voiceover. I think for the rest of this, the audio sounds like this. Maybe it doesn't. It might switch back at random points. I don't know.
But I don't know what to take. Like, I don't think we need a starter. I don't feel like we do. But Andres Cordero is an ace. He's an ace, straight up. He's a perfect pitcher. Absolute stud. I also know that there's a ton of value there in getting those types of players. Pitching is overvalued by Mlbtheshow. He's already 22. He would be an ace the moment we bring him up. Seems like a surefire pick. But I don't know if we need another pitcher. Manuel Gonzalez is a little riskier. Also, we don't need another catcher. This is the second ranked guy. I guess as a surefire thing. I'm just looking at different things. The second ranked guy is actually a pitcher. But, okay. He's all around amazing offensively. Do I need another catcher? Not really. However, man, this guy's good at a lot of stuff. And even later, this guy's a little lower down the board. And lower potential. Damn. Look at that contact. Like, it's tough. I think, like, I'm kind of predetermining a little bit. We do need, because we need a lot of relievers. So I scouted a lot of relievers. There's a good amount of relievers in this draft. There's also a good amount of late guys that I found, like Edgar Diaz right here, who could have some value. Pedro Pena, who's a guy who I think I need to take with the 3rd round pick. I mean, he's got the high potential rating. I don't know if he's actually good, because he's not really good at anything, but whatever. But, like, do I just go position player because we need it? Pagan can only play 3rd and 1st. Gonzalez can only play catcher. Or do we go with the surefire thing? I'm thinking. I think out of anything. We have a lot of pitchers now. And getting relievers is hard. So I'm starting to think that if I'm going to do this draft, I can't miss. And so I'm going to take Cordero. Because I can't afford to miss. We can't afford to miss. So Cordero's going to be the number 1 pick. We're getting another pitcher. I don't think we need him, but I can't afford to miss on that type of player. And you know what? Maybe Gonzalez will be a generational talent. Maybe Pagan will. I love how both those prospects look, but when you've got the number 1 overall pick, it's actually like, I feel like in those types of positions, you can't afford to miss. Like, it's worse. All right. So next pick, yeah, of course, all those guys are gone. All right. There's a reliever here, closer. Let's see who else is there. Ooh, Guerra's better. I think Guerra's better, right? Hits per 9. Yeah, Guerra's better. We're going to take Guerra. Guerra is better than Armas. Armas just doesn't have as much of a ceiling. I do like his overall. I like his strikeouts. I like all that stuff. But, yeah, I said we needed a reliever. Of anything, we need an elite closer. Especially knowing that we have to, draft them. We can't sign them. So we do need an elite one. I'm hoping Guerra can be that. And the other reliever's gone anyways. So that's why we had to do that. Okay. Taking a look. It looks like... Man, I don't want to take just pitchers. We got to take something else. But is everything else that I like on... Everything else I like on the board is gone. Everything I like on the board is gone. Pena's gone. Did Diaz? Diaz went at 59? He was not ranked. Oh, that hurts. That hurts. Rodriguez is gone. Okay. All right. Man, this is tough. There's so many guys. This...
You know, we honestly didn't do too bad. I was expecting me to miss on one of these, and honestly, I don't think we really did.
I think we did pretty well across the board. It looks like Lopez was not that great. I will say. 81, he doesn't look like he was that great, but honestly, everybody else seems to be pretty good. Cordero is our ace. 89 potential is a little disappointing. It's actually very disappointing. 89 is very disappointing. But he'll be up soon. So, all right, Cordero. I don't know if we made the right pick there. Guerra, great, perfect. Got a closer. Need to work on his walks per 9, but we have ourselves our closer. Lopes has better hits and walks per 9 than I already forgot the other guy's name. Francisco, I think it was. 81 potential is not great. It could be a bullpen arm. Kirkland, 79. I mean, not bad, not bad. Sawyer, love it. 94 potential. high contact stats already a 59. This guy is going to be a stud. I think we got the right guy with John Sawyer. Glad we took him. Hendricks, 85 potential. He's not going to be here for a while. He's 52. And George Dennis, he's nowhere near as well, but decent. I do need to take a look. We have to see if we made any big misses. I mean, this draft looks pretty weak so far. Pedro Pena was good. Yes, that was a guy I would have liked. I think he was gone by the time we got to our third pick because we needed that closer so bad. Dotson. Wow, 98 potential for Lauren Dotson was on our board. That was a possible choice. We went with Hendricks instead. And Dennis instead. That's crazy. All right. They didn't get their first round. Oh, he looked like he'd been bad. Burkhart was good. All right. That was the second overall pick. He's better than our pitcher. He's better than ours. Okay. All right. Guerrero didn't see him. Bobby Tucker was a guy I liked, but he was gone already by the next time we had another pick. Pagan was not good. All right, so we didn't make a mistake on Pagan. 75 potential, 76 overall. I love those stats, by the way, but I guess that kind of sucks for them. Definitely somebody who kind of glad we didn't take that player. I was concerned by him anyways, based on those numbers being so high. What? They didn't sign him? I think we've got a team. I think we have our team. Bullpen still needs some work. Man, I wish Cordero was a little better. And we don't get to actually know anything about Gonzalez, but put Gonzalez in the back of your mind. Manuel Gonzalez. They didn't sign him. He might be back in next year's draft, and he'll probably actually slip a little bit further down the board and be a really high overall. Manuel Gonzalez definitely should be somebody we could possibly take, though I think we would need to use him in the first round. So I don't know. We'll have to see. Juan Soto MVP for the Mets. Corey Seager for the Rangers. Zach Geloff? That's kind of crazy. Cy Young, Roki Sasaki. Mackenzie Gore on the Rangers. Okay, all right. Fun awards. Guardians defeat the Phillies.
And so, 2029, it will be time finally for our guys to see the light of the major leagues. In fact, we are going to have a lot of guys come up this upcoming season, and we are going to pitch, we're going to play, we're going to hit in the majors. The Marlins are finally going to be a real team. And part of that is because at this point, we've got our guys that we drafted in the first draft reaching their Rule 5 eligibility. And so, realistically, it is time for them to no longer sit in the minors. So, before we even get into it, I guess we can go to look at depth chart to see what we are looking at. Actually, depth chart's going to be wrong. 2030. All right, perfect. So, this is our depth chart. This isn't exactly perfect because obviously their overalls are not this high just yet. So, respectively, this is probably the guy. Why is Joe Random a 99 overall reliever? Okay. What? Okay, they expect him to be a 99 next year. So, Joe Random will be a stud for us, I guess. Okay. Anyways, besides that weird thing, when we look at our team, essentially, we will probably have Sergio Reyes up. Benitez will be up. Mota, Stinson, McAtee, Steve Roberts. Salgado's going to come up as well, be a utility bench bat. As on top of that, Carruth will probably be the first baseman I'm going to bring up. I think Singleton is better than Carruth, but I'm going to bring Carruth up because why not? Because if he's going to struggle, if both of them are going to struggle, let me put the guy who's not as good up earlier so that way he can struggle earlier. Bragg is going to come up. That's our first pick that we took. Reggie Bragg will be our starting outfielder. I think we'll bring Lorenz up. He's been pretty good. We still need some outfielders. I think that we're struggling a little bit in there. I'm hoping I can just put Salgado out in the outfield or something like that. Clark Elliott is, not a real guy. I don't even know if any of these guys can play outfield that I've drafted. I guess Carruth is also a no. Okay, so we
Yeah, we're gonna need yeah, we need outfielders. All right, but pitching staff, Watanabe, he's gonna come up. Snell, he'll probably come up. Ojeda already has a twice. He's gonna come up. Calero's gonna come up. I think I'm gonna let Cordero start in the minors this season, and then we can bring him up. Keller, or not Keller. I don't think Keller's. Yeah, Keller will come up. Diaz will be up. A lot of these starters will be up. Essentially, it's time. We're going to try to build a 26-man roster, or at least, if not 26 guys, we're going to try to build 20 guys, so we can be in a spot where the bench is the guys that we don't necessarily care about. So this is going to be the year. I'll show you the lineups as soon as we get through the offseason, and we'll take a look at what this team actually looks like.
We couldn't get 3 in a row, but pick 4 is okay.
So, in our first season where we're going to actually start our guys, and I don't really like it either, I'm going to tell you that it's still going to be a rough season. We're still probably going to finish last. The question is, can any of these guys develop this season and, put together something interesting? This will also help us get some picks, because hopefully they'll get, an all-star off of this list, so we'll have an all-star on our team, if not multiple, so we can get some extra draft picks stockpiling in for compensation, compensatory picks. And then if we can get a rookie of the year from somebody, that's even better. Technically, highest overall in the pitching staff is Watanabe, but I don't think he's actually the best. In fact, I would say that probably the best pitcher that I think we'd be able to roll out, I don't know, Matt Snell, Calero, Andres Diaz. Andres Diaz is probably honestly the best. But yeah, I mean, it's gonna be a little rough. I think Jenkins and Nomo should be good. Hopefully, we do have 2 Joe randoms, including they're the A potential ones. Which, by the way, I didn't set these guys to A potential. They just randomly became A potential, just out of nowhere. Okay, so pitching staff's gonna be bad because hits per 9 is terrible. Hits per 9 is terrible. Walks per 9 is terrible. Hits per 9 is terrible. Hits per 9 is terrible. I don't expect any of these guys to be really great. The hope is that Cordero can come up sometime in the season and just be like something. But yeah, pitching staff isn't going to be great. Lineup wise, it's a little messy. So Stinson is going to be third base. He is originally a second baseman, probably one of the best players that we have. We took Stinson in the third round or I guess the second round probably of the 2025 draft. Originally a second baseman, 93 potential when we drafted him, so probably somewhere around there. Great contact bat. He's going to lead off. Steve Roberts was our second round pick in our first draft, 89 potential. He was going to be DH. Nothing really special defensively, so just once again contact. Hank McAtee was our second round pick of 2027. He was a 79 overall with 81 potential. He's already there. So he's our shortstop for the foreseeable future. Sergio Reyes was our first round pick in 2026. The kind of stud catcher that we drafted after we went and reached for Benitez the previous draft when we needed a catcher. This is the power hitting guy that we took then. Willie Moda, if you do not recall, was our first pick in the 2025 draft. Another great contact bat, 88 potential for us. I mean, we built our team around contact bats. Lorenz was our third round pick in 2025. Left fielder, he has great potential, 95 potential, probably one of the best players all around guys that we could have. Really short outfielder, but whatever. Reggie Bragg was our first pick 16 in the 2024 draft. Didn't have a very high ceiling, sadly. I mean, when we drafted him, he was a 70 overall. He's only a 76. Has not really developed very well. So he's been very disappointing, I guess you could say. Leandro Salgado was one of the guys with the higher ceiling, but doesn't have much of a skill set. He's our second baseman. He's more of our defensive guy anyways. And then I don't have another outfielder yet. So Dexter Caruth is going to play in the outfield. And mainly, he was our 2027 fourth round pick, I think. Yeah, fourth round pick. And I guess at least he has power and he can play some defense. The hope is, and by the way, I still have all these random guys all around, that Singleton will be okay soon, that we can bring up like a Jason Hurley next year. I need outfielders bad. So we are going to fully pursue outfield like heavily. We need outfielders and maybe power. I don't know. It's still best player available, to be honest. It's best player available, but like, man, I need outfielders.
I feel like this is our last real big draft before we're actually going to start like trying to have a competitive team, because by the time these guys get up, these guys will be young by the time the rest of the players are kind of like, you know, in their core element, big pieces of a team that might be competing. And so it's really important to me to look at these guys and say which guys can come up and be good, and his ceiling is not as high, but we need an outfielder, and he's an all-around guy, originally ranked 1 by them. If he's there, I'm taking him. That's my number 1 choice. My number 2 choice, Manuel Gonzalez. I know I don't need him, but absolute stud as well. So these are the 2 guys. I'm hoping either of them are available. But we talked a lot about getting outfielders and needing outfielders, and I found a lot of them. Hoyt Swaikos, not like anything special, but could definitely just help build up the draft like pool of stuff. Kind of a later guy. There was some other guys down here. David Thjs, very interesting because of the speed, all that. Another guy late could be something. None of them have great bats. I'll be honest in that sense. Like, actually, most of the guys I scouted don't have great bats. A lot of good relievers in there too. The main players are these 2. So the question is, can I get Lewis James or Manuel Gonzalez? So let me get one of these 2 guys. Do not take them, please. Okay, Matt Henderson. So that's 1 down. Just need them to take somebody who is not one of those 2. Preferably don't take Lewis James. Rick Chick. All right, sweet. They took Rick Chick. That means I'm going to get one of the 2. Don't take Lewis James. I need him more. Juan Almanza. All right. Not as high of a ceiling, but I'm taking Lewis James. Boom. There's our outfielder. Next pick. I actually have a lot of options here. Looks like I could take a top-end reliever, or I could take Swaikos. I could take a couple guys here. I think what I might do is let's grab this reliever, Iraba, because the hits per 9 is really, really good. Or Irabu, my bad. On that. And if I look at scouting, I mean, there's a couple guys. Oh, Jason Juarez is good though too. He actually has a good bat. I forgot to put him on the list. We're taking him. Taking another outfielder. Okay. Arabu's gone, but Mora's not. I will wait for Swaikos. I think Swaikos' lack of a bat is allowing me to mentally be like, I can sit and I can wait him. They both opted out though. So is there anybody who I definitely... Ooh, Shane Maeda, man. 87 to 97. What are the stats, though? Stamina. That's not really going to help me as much as some of the other numbers might. If I take a look... There's another reliever down here. I can't remember what it was. That I thought seemed really good. Okay, maybe he didn't go out. Oh, Tippett. Tippett's like a must grab. Have to draft him. Okay, I think because of that, we could take Swaikos. These guys are all opted out. So do I take Swaikos because he's safe? Or do I take Maeda because he's... Maeda's not bad either. Anybody who won't be around I need to worry about. No, I honestly, because of the way that I scouted, I think we can sit here and wait on guys. I think what we're going to do is we're going to take Swaikos. Do I really need him? No, but we're going to take just a bunch of outfielders. And now, I feel like I need Tippett, but I can wait on that. Probably. The Maryville. No, okay, so we're going to go Maryville. Tippett. And that gives us a few options. Jorge Pena. Those numbers aren't as good as Nolan's are. I think Nolan's are a little better. Not as safe of a pick, but it's all right. I'd take it. Is there any other guys I put? Nah. So probably Nolan here. It's just a little safer.
Pena's gone. And then we'll just take a starter. Take best available. Bob Felsch. Yeah. Boyd Huerta. Bob Felsch. Or Eloy Cabral. Or Freeman. Freehan. Freehan does not have as high of a ceiling, but those are pretty good numbers. Best available. We'll take best available. We can move into the bullpen if we don't like him. All right, Bob Felsch. All right, that's our draft. So let's see how we did. And if you're wondering who our all-star was, Hank McAtee, shortstop. I don't think he's been the best player for us so far, but I'll take it as like, you know, oh, this is painful. But Hank McAtee probably hasn't been our best player so far, but I'll take that for our first ever all-star. Did we mess up? How did he only end up with a 77 potential? Like, I guess there's one thing I don't understand in regards to this is he didn't opt out, so he had no injuries. And this happened with I'm already for blanking on one of the guys earlier who we scouted and had everything down and below, and the guy was up. Now, part of that is that because of the efficiency of the scouting, but then at that same time, if I look at the guys that I scouted, or my scouts are good, like they're high efficiency scouts, I'm confused on how realistically he ended up being below everything when he had no injury issues. If I would have like known that this was the player I was gonna get, I wasn't gonna draft him. I would have taken the catcher, but like all right, whatever. So Lewis James, 70 overall, 77 potential. That's really disappointing. Very disappointing, in fact. Jason Juarez is better and younger. 79 potential, 73 overall. Good lefty hitter. Is Lewis James 5'7" too? Yikes. Okay. Suecos is better, but a little further away. 85 potential, is the best outfielder that we drafted. Fernando Maraville is a stud. 98 potential, second baseman. Good contact, good vision, is a 61 overall. Antoine Tippett is a stud at reliever. These two guys I had a really good feeling about. I hope they can develop into that. Daniel Nolan, 77 potential. Felsch, 82. I need to go see Manuel Gonzalez, 84 potential. Yeah, is all around way better. I mean, that bat is crazy good. And he goes to the Nationals, just like all the other guys do. I guess when I look at it, it's just that's pretty tough to take a look at the guys that I scouted, and Joey Francisco was on my board. He was on my board too. He was like projected like 99th. I was wondering why he was gone. Okay. I think we missed. I think we missed on this draft. I mean, I can't really say that too bad because we did get Tippett and Maraville, but I think we missed. I think we could have done a lot better. So, we'll get to the end of the season. Not a playoff team. The question is, will we get any Gold Gloves, Silver Sluggers, Rookie of the Year maybe? What can we all do for the rest of the season? Get ourselves some compensatory picks for the following draft and some development for our players as we move into, I guess, the era of our draft picks. And so, in our first full season, we go 55-107. Not a great season, technically, but honestly, not bad, I think, for where our team was at, and that's with a pretty big loss streak at the end there. And had a few, series that we won. We did pretty well in certain spots of the season, and I'll take it. I think when we look at this season, a lot of it was just what guys are good, what do they do, what roles do they play in this team, what positions do we need, what players do you think need replacement. It's all about getting an idea and perspective of our players. Now, one thing that I think is going to be a little bit of a struggle that I'm going to have to worry about is managing contracts, because bringing everybody up at the same time means all their contracts are going to also expire at the same time. So I'm going to play around a lot with extensions, I think, this offseason to figure out how I want to spread that money out for these players to try to make it interesting. Awards, we got none, so no Rookie of the Year for us. That also means no Silver Slugger, none of that, which is not necessarily what you want to see. Mookie Betts wins MVP for the Dodgers. On the other side, Yordan Alvarez wins it for the Astros. Cy Young goes to Cole Ragans and Roki Sasaki, winning his second in a row. Batting title goes to Bryce Harper, Jose Miranda. Mainly I want to go check. Rookie of the Year race. Brian Lorenz was third. Didn't really stand a chance, I think, considering, a 13-4 season and how MLB The Show values that. I also don't think Lorenz was technically the best player, but I think he had the most power for us. So that probably is what, led into that decision. I don't believe we have anybody. I'm going to go take a look and see if anybody even got on the list for any of these. No. So nothing there. No league leaders. Batting average of Bryce Harper. We did have Brett Stinson, who did hit 300 as a rookie. That's where I would say this is the guy that should have been in that race. Stinson, very, very good season for him. Just doesn't hit for enough power. So let's go take a look at our actual roster. I actually think that we won't get the problem that MLB The Show does by moving guys up and down too much because of this season. So, all right. Calero 490, 133 whip. This is a reliever. Calero's a reliever. I'm actually going to move him to reliever after this season, and that's going to be a big thing for me. I think he's going to be a good reliever, and we'll continue to develop that way. Cruz, he's an A potential pitcher, lefty. Could end up being something, but right now 504 16 whip is terrible. Random got sent down because he was Joe Random. Andres Diaz, not good, 180 whip. Nate Bloom was okay. He was in the bullpen all season. I liked what I saw out of Nate Bloom. He is one of the guys that I actually really enjoy. Could be somebody who I'm really into next, as a potential starter for us. Henry Nomo, not bad, honestly. 4.42, 1.34 whip. It's not terrible. And Chad Jenkins, not terrible either, as our two relievers that we actually had pitching this season. These guys have locked spots in our position, in our lineup because of their just reliever roles. When it comes to starters, Watanabe, our ace. Doesn't really walk anybody. 48 walks, 28 home runs though. 4.89 ERA, 136 whip, not great. Chad Keller, 4.35 and a 1.29. This is another guy who I think is a starter. But a lot of this you can see is just because they're all around players. Dan Maloney, honestly, was not expecting him to pitch this well. That walks per nine scares me. He gave up 111 walks, but he just doesn't give up hits, and that's really nice. Snell, not good. That hits per nine was terrible. I guess hits per nine is a little bit more valuable in the starting lineup. Walks per nine is probably a little bit more value in the bullpen. So what we might do is swap out Snell for maybe Nino, maybe Andres Diaz this next season. I think that might be what we would do, is Snell and Diaz swap spots next year. Though Diaz just has low stamina, so I don't know. Pitching rotation, not necessarily anything crazy. I did bring up Cordero. He 4.4 ERA. He is going to be in the lineup as well next season. So Cordero will come up. I don't know if he'll be a starter. The hits per nine is pretty weak. Maybe we wait a little longer, try to save some eligibility for him, and just kind of have him sit around in the minors for one more year to get that hits per nine up, because that needs to go up a lot. When it comes to the lineup, I don't really have anybody who I can worry about bringing up. Moda did get hurt there at the end, 2 weeks left, so nothing really substantial. 111 hits, 248, 314 on base, 5 home runs. Nothing crazy. I just like to see the development, especially contact against lefties. I love that. So good contact. I'm always going to value that. And his vision is nice, so I like to see that. Ronan Cortez is up. I don't necessarily agree with that. Our best defensive catcher, Benitez, honestly, was our better hitting catcher, I want to say, as well this season. But nothing really crazy out of him. Just got a season out of him, essentially. Brett Stinson, this was what I would say was our best player offensively, and maybe even in the pitching staff. 184 hits, hit for 300, 382 on base percentage. He's an on base machine. This is the type of player I like to see. A potential. This is probably my favorite player. I would give him a contract right now. For long term, because I think he is going to be really, really good. Steve Roberts, all right, as our DH this season. would like to see a little bit more, but once again, that's a rookie. Hank McAtee was our all-star, so love to see that. He was technically our best player. 261, 340 on base as well. Good season from him. He hit 18 home runs as well, which is nice with 49 power. Good arm, all that. So his bat did go up. I think, I mean, that's pretty nice to see. Want to see more power out of Sergio Reyes. He played 123 games, so 14 home runs. When I look at him, I want to see Salvador Perez, essentially. Like, with these stats, that's what I want to get. Not a good defensive catcher, mainly a power bat. We even can focus more on that power. I think I'm going to focus more on the contact, trying to get that up. Again, get guys on base is essential. But, yeah, Sergio Reyes, want to see a little more. Singleton came up for September. He will be up next season, I want to say. Well, actually, I don't know. Singleton might stay down. Lorenz was technically they gave him the third best, and I guess 0.64. I don't see it, but he's 26, so yeah, I guess he's the most all-around player. So okay, Reggie Bragg, a disappointing pick, to be honest. I think we made the wrong pick in that draft. Bragg has not really been anything good. Salgado did. I mean, we focused mainly on getting his defense up just because he just is so far away from the bat. He's a good defensive player. That's his main thing. Second base is all right. And then Caruth, like I kind of brought him in specifically to be our scapegoat almost, to play right field. Next season, we're going to bring up Reyes and Suarez right away. I don't care. I'm bringing them up. I need outfielders, and I want to get all the Joe Randoms gone. So, yeah, I guess things to look forward to. Lorenz is a good all-around player. I love what I saw out of McAtee, and Stinson is one of my favorite players I've seen so far for us. So, if we can continue to get this development out of these guys, I like it. I want to see a lot more, though. We're not ready at all. No wild card chances, next season, unless we see insane development out of the pitching staff, which is possible. But yeah, we'll see who we all bring up this next season, and see what kind of development we get to. But yeah, first season down. It's all right. It's all right. Oh, and the Red Sox defeat the Brewers in the 2029 World Series. By the way, only 3 games off of the White Sox this past season. Didn't even notice that. That would have been something that I felt like, could have came up. Give us luck. Give us luck. Give us luck. Give us 1 or 2. 1! First pick again. And so we're going to start the 2030 season with a few changes because I'm bringing a few guys up. Lewis James, bringing him up right away. I don't have a lot of faith in him growing as a player. Apparently, we missed on that pick, so I'm going to bring him up. He's got a very large head. And then we have Jason Juarez, who seems like a perfect lefty-only bat. So I'm going to actually have him just hit lefties instead of Lewis in that same spot. I'm going to have those two platoon. If anybody else could platoon, maybe you go like Reggie Bragg or something like that. But yeah, so I'm not going to get a Rookie of the Year from these guys, obviously. I could be wrong. Maybe Juarez ends up, being good enough to take that DH. We did sign Brett Stinson to an extension, gave him a front-loaded contract. He was going to ask for, I think it was $35 million when he came up. Don't want to lose that. Other guy that I believe that I gave was Sergio Reyes. I did the same thing, front-loaded to 2038. Now, the problem with this is that we don't have any money. Mainly because we've been losing so many games, we don't have any revenue, so our budget is actually very, very cheap. On top of this, I did give Watanabe a contract, front-loaded as well. You see $24 million in 2031. We're going to have a tight budget for a couple years here. But I put these guys front-loaded so that when we get to the other guys, we can backload those once we need them so that we can have everybody at the same time and actually compete. Next year, I could see a chance for us to bring up, Kaminsky maybe. If I look at the pitching rotation, I did bring up Cordero. I thought I was not going to. I'm just going to. He's like our best pitcher besides Watanabe and Maloney. He is going to come in the bullpen because I think that walks per 9 has a lot of value. And so we also moved Thjs over to the starting lineup because the hits per 9, I guess this is an experiment. We will experiment and see if that hits per 9 is more valuable for starters than walks per 9. Calero is over here in the bullpen. Now, one thing that I'll say is because I have so many guys up, we have 12 pitchers up right now, right? Yeah, 12 pitchers up, and then I also have Guerra who could come up as well. He will be our 13th pitcher once he gets that walks per 9 up. We don't need pitchers for a while. Tippett is also really good too. There's a chance that we will let some of these pitchers walk at some point. I don't plan on signing all of them back. We need to continue to draft position players now amongst anything, because I think out of pitchers, we are in a good spot. We've got a lot of them. We spend a lot of time getting pitchers. So the rest of the drafts are going to be focused mainly on position players, because I do believe these pitchers are good. I also brought in a brand new coach, specifically because I think our pitching staff is our big strength. Ks per 9, walks per 9 from Salgado. I'm overpaying these coaches, so that's also a big part of it. But we have a big focus on pitching. I might even look to see if there's any other things available for any of these guys, but probably not. I don't want to waste and have a bunch of money sitting around that I can't use. So we are, yeah, we're out of money. But 2030, you can see we're finally not 30th and everything. I don't think this is a playoff team. Can we not be last place? Another number 1 overall pick, another draft where I'm not necessarily certain that it's really worth having a number 1 overall pick, but I don't know. I haven't drafted very well this rebuild. Personally, I don't believe I have. I mean, there's a lot of blues, but I feel like I haven't gotten the right types of guys a lot. JJ Mathis is the guy that I'm going to be taking 100% with the number 1 overall pick. Good contact. I know it's another second baseman. At least he can play in the outfield. But yeah, we're going to take him right away. There's a lot of other guys that are interesting. I'm going to show all the names so that way you can see how I don't get any of them, and I can claim that I did, that I liked them later on, and you were like, oh yeah, I suppose you did put them on your list. Not a good draft, by the way. From this perspective, from the scouting perspective, not a good draft. I mean, I guess we did pretty well. JJ Mathis, 86 potential. Number 1 overall pick is a little low. 86 potential is a little low, but he's got the stats that matter: the contact, the vision, the fielding, and because he can play, second base and outfield, I'll take it. Definitely a potential, like, I mean, he could be up like next season. We could bring him up right away, or we could wait a little bit with him, because we actually have a lot of guys up now that we could be a little bit more patient now with players like that. Manuel Rodriguez, very good. Hits per 9 is really low though. So he is going to be a while away before he can come up. Sanchez, like power versus lefties, 85 potential, not bad to see. He's really short. Oh, 5'7" again. Jesus Ortiz, good reliever. That walks per 9 is terrible. You know what? He's not a good reliever. He's not a good reliever at all. This guy will never pitch. That walks per 9 is so bad, and the pitching clutch is so bad. I don't think he'll ever be good. I could be wrong, but I don't think he'll ever be good. Arturo at least has a little bit better walks per 9, but 79 potential. A little on the low end. That's fine. Johnny Webb is a 49 overall. He's also 5'7". Yep. Just a bunch of short guys here in Miami. Decent contact, but 49 overall. Whatever. And then Fabio Segura, good walks per 9, terrible hit per 9. We won't see him for a while. He's 6'4". He's huge. Did we miss anything? Michael Landis, wow. Rodney McDonough was that good? Okay. I didn't finish scouting him because I think I had kind of settled on Perez. Michael Park, too. Okay. Twins have been knocking it, have just been doing phenomenal in the draft for the last couple of years. Bennett Stu, injury knocked him down. Lugo. Okay. All right. John Martinez. Yep. I mean, we had best draft again, obviously. Best player was probably that other was Waller, or honestly, Rodney McDonough was the best player in this draft. But that wasn't what I saw when I scouted him. So, we'll take it. I also want to show We should check our all-star quick. I believe our all-star this season will probably be the catcher. Yeah, Sergio Reyes. Sergio Reyes, 79 overall. We paid him. He's not hitting very well. 226, 263, but 24 home runs. He has a power surge. So we'll take that. I'm going to guess we don't have any others. That's probably our only one. Hey, look, there's the other Nationals guy we missed out on. Yeah. So yeah. Not a good season for us so far, once again. But I think seeing that he is getting some power, that Reyes has some power, is nice. And as long as everybody else continues to perform, I think we're starting to build something here. I can kind of see it. 63-99. We finally lose less than 100 games. I'll take it. Obviously, no postseason. So let's see how we did. No awards. That's disappointing. Sawyer Bai wins the MVP. That's one of the guys we could have drafted. I don't remember which draft that was, but probably 3 years ago at this point, 2027. Yeah. So 2027 draft. It's a guy we missed. I think we took Reyes instead in that one, if I'm correct. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. wins the MVP on the other side. Corey Seager is the runner-up. Hunter Green, Dodgers, really, with the Dodgers, wins a Cy Young, which, by the way, still haven't won a World Series, so I guess it doesn't matter. Garrett Crochet wins the Cy Young on the AL side. I do want to check. So they have Wyatt Langford now, too? So wait, what? So they have Wyatt Langford, Carmen Juarez, and Sawyer Bai in the outfield. Not to include the James Wood. Oh my God. Okay. All right. That team is ridiculous. And reliever of the year. Almost. Runner up, I guess. Yeah. So do we have anybody even close? Do I see any Marlins? Oh. Reggie Bragg, third in Cy Young. Okay. All right. He was the, or not Cy Young, Gold Glove. He had the third best. Committed an error. If he doesn't commit an error, maybe. I mean, look he has so many more putouts than these guys. I think it's that like 99 speed. Silver Slugger DH, Sawyer Bai. Sergio Reyes, runner-up. 38 home runs, 107 RBIs. I mean, dude, if we wanted a Salvador Perez type catcher, I think we got one in Sergio Reyes. And Hank McAtee, second in Silver Slugger for shortstop. Didn't hit as many home runs as Mookie Betts, but I mean, that's Mookie Betts. The Nationals are ridiculous. Just, okay. All right. So, league leaders, Nationals, Nationals and Cardinals. Okay. All right. Don't have anybody really up there. I mean, Sergio Reyes was second in home runs this season. We will take it. That way. Okay, so first off, pitching rotation for our team. Andres Cordero in his first full season in the bullpen, 4.55 with a 1.3 whip. Nothing crazy. He's almost already to his peak potential, so not really liking that if this is what we have for him. I really wish he would have got his hits per nine up. I mean, he got a +6, but could have been more. Andres Diaz, decent. Would have wished it was better. Matt Snell, I'm just gonna look at the Nationals every season and say, was that worth it? He's a 6'5" ace, but hits per nine's terrible. Nate Bloom, not good. Calero in his relief role, not bad. 3.12 with a 109 whip. Nomo was terrible. Jenkins was bad as well. Starting pitcher, our ace Watanabe, not really that good. Maloney, 405, 146, not really that good. Chad Keller, 515, 132, not good. Cruz, not good. I mean, a decent, I guess. Yeah, pitching, not good. 4-17 for Watanabe. So that's a terrible season for him. If Watanabe trotted it out, he lost. It seems like he did that back-to-back years, actually. Okay, so pitching needs some work. I think Guerrero has to come up next season. We're gonna have to figure out what we need to do. I don't know if any of these guys just become bullpen arms. Andres Diaz, maybe, just because that 69 stamina. Maybe Nate Bloom. I don't know. Maybe. He has 62 stamina. Is Watanabe a... Is he Blake Snell? Can he at least be Blake Snell? Okay. All right, whatever. So pitching staff has been a disappointment. I bet you we even look at like team stats and team rankings that, Nationals #1 offensively. I bet you ERA or like runs given up, we're probably near the bottom. So ERA, we were 23rd. So yes, we need this pitching staff to get way better. Need some work there. All right, lineups wise. Okay, Ian on the bench. Jason Hurley came up and hit 238. That's decent. Jason Juarez in his platoon role did decent, honestly. Good against lefties. His power against lefties went down, but good all around. 265. Like to see that. Benitez is our backup catcher. Meh. Singleton came up this season off the bench. He might have to be a starter soon. Did they send somebody down? They did. They sent Caruth down. Yeah, deservedly so. Not good for him. He was pretty bad. I don't know if he really has much future there. Okay, actual lineup. Stinson, 302. I need to find a way to get him more games. 128 games is not enough for our best hitter. 382 on base percentage, 302 average. I need to see him play closer to 160 games. I think what that means is we're going to have to do some rotating of positions around here. He can play second and third, but I think I have a couple guys that can do that. So we have to figure out how we need to balance things. And I think that comes along with figuring out where players go. Willie Mota, decent, 326 on base. Decent. Another 126 games, 125 hits, 5 home runs. Would like to see better. Maybe Singleton takes first base. I don't know. McAtee, that's our starting shortstop. He has 99 contact versus lefties now. 22 home runs. He's still going up, which is nice. I guess his potential is going up along with it because he was an all-star, all that. So Sergio Reyes got that power, baby. Look at that. Plus 15 power against lefties. He got a ton of power this past season. Really brought the bat together. 38 home runs. 758 OPS. Still not really great because he needs to get on base a lot more. I need to see a lot more walks from him, and I think like his WAR will be okay. He's Sergio Perez for us, so or Salvador Perez. I'm gonna say that because of Sergio, but he's our Salvi. So if that, we need more on base percentage if he's gonna just bring power like that. Steve Roberts, all right, 172 hits. See, this is where I would say like you would want a guy like Stinson who's got that kind of bat in the DH role to play 162 games, but also Stinson is a far better defender than Roberts is. So we have to do some moving around of all that. Roberts is all right though. 267, 338 on base. Not bad. Lorenz, love him. I think he's our all-around guy. He's been really good in left field. 19 home runs. 328 on base. He got that up. His average is up to 270. Can we see that continue to move up as he gets better? WAR-wise, he's at 3 WAR, went from 0.6 to 3. He was our best rookie last year, according to them. Reggie Bragg is a significant disappointment. This is our worst pick so far. First pick in that first draft. I mean, he's fast. He can play good defense. 22 home runs this year, 100 hits. I mean, he hit 183, 592 OPS. He had a positive WAR because of his defensive things, but dude, if I just wanted to draft Jackie Bradley Jr., I wish I could have just got him in the 6th round, not in the 1st. Lewis James, that was a bad, unlucky pick, I guess, technically. Hit 227, nothing real special from him. And then Salgado. Salgado's going to keep getting better. He's great defensively, but I feel like he should be coming off the bench. Like, do we move so that McAtee's at short, Stinson moves to second, Mota moves to third, and then we can bring in Singleton at first and let Salgado move to the bench for a season? Or how do we adjust this outfield? Do we make space for, I don't know, I mean, because Caruth is probably going to stay up. Do we make space for our next pick? I mean, I don't know. Like, I guess we'll have to sit on it. We'll have to think about it. But because John Sawyer's already got a decent bat. He could be up pretty soon here. But we could wait. We honestly should just wait for him. So, okay. I think the main thing when looking at this team is if you were to build it, there's some guys I like. I think Stinson, McAtee seems to be near his ceiling, but I'm okay with that. That's all right. Sergio Reyes and Brian Lawrence are really, really big or interesting pieces. I don't necessarily know if I like any of the other guys yet. Singleton, I obviously don't know much about. Juarez is just a lefty bat. You could look at Moda, could be good, I think. I mean, he's a high potential, good contact. Just need to see a little bit better numbers from him next year. And he could. It's just all adjusting these lineups. And I guess Steve Roberts, he's good too, good contact. How do we make the space knowing that our outfielders are kind of bad? And I don't want to be the guy who's like, I'm just going to move Stinson to left field. I don't feel like that's right. He's never played that. That doesn't make any sense. So Bragg will remain our center fielder. James and Juarez will remain, I guess, platooning next season. But to Salgado move to the bench for Singleton. Do we bring... I don't know. But that's the bottom half of the lineup. So we will think about that next season as we move into 2031. Let's just sim right away the rest of the postseason. The Dodgers finally win it in 2030. So took them that long, but they finally did it. I feel like I jinxed myself with that one. Number 2. We just keep getting good picks. I think what I'm going to do for draft picks from now on is we're probably just going to watch the drafts at the end. You'll get the little bit, because we are now to the point where I think the roster is here. These guys that we're drafting are going to be more of long-term ads if we are not able to win early. We are the Marlins. We do not have a budget, and so we will not be able to re-sign guys when we actually need to. So it is all about winning in the next several years now that we have a roster. Hopefully some of these guys that we can draft can be more win-now guys. And so, 2031, here we are, 30th ranked, 21st in contact, still 30th in pitching, still pretty low on everything else, but we are getting there. Pitching rotation this year is going to be Watanabe, Maloney, Cordero, Ojeda, and Diaz as the starting rotation with Cruz, Keller, Snell, Calero, Nomo, and I did bring up Guerra, and Chad Jenkins will remain as our closer as he's done okay. To this point, we will keep him there until Guerra proves to me that he can take that spot. I think Guerra is probably the better closer, but he will eventually get that spot. If so, this gives us some room and some time to think about Nate Bloom, Kaminsky, and a couple other guys that still need to come up eventually, as we are going to eventually, I think, make some decisions on some of these players and whether or not we will keep them around. And Ojeda is one of those because he has not been great in the 4 seasons he has been up. When it comes to the lineup, we have our key members. Hank McAtee is the top end of this lineup right now, 162 at-bats last season, 295. So Hank McAtee, Stinson, Sergio Reyes have been fantastic so far. These are our key pieces. Bragg is a question mark, and I think we're going to put Singleton at first base this year and move Salgado out of the lineup. He has just not been worth our time with a 268 on base percentage. Maybe he can continue to develop, but I mean, he's a defensive player. His WAR is still negative. It's not worth having out there. So unless he develops, we will just keep him down there, and we'll see what Singleton can do, and hopefully everybody else can bring some good weight, and maybe we can finally be not last place. See you at the All-Star break. Taking a look at the All-Star break, I am happy to see Brett Stinson here on our All-Star team at second base. He's averaging 334 in either swapping between leadoff and third. And then Hank McAtee, the other one swapping it, hitting 330 at shortstop. Those two have been our best 2 players this season. I will say that we have had some other good performances by guys, but our pitching has been pretty poor. And so that's kind of left us in a little bit of a hole
we're not doing too bad. So at the All-Star break, you can see we are 51-45. Our contact is up. I'm very happy to see this. And as you look at our lineup, you can see Stinson 334, Steve Roberts 295, Hank McAtee 330, and Sergio Reyes had 28 home runs so far halfway through the season. Lorenz has been pretty good. Mota is all right. Reggie Bragg is not an NFL player, or NFL. Reggie Bragg is not an MLB player. Like, he's like a minor leaguer. Like, he's not worth it, you know? So he'll go to the bench next season, I guess. I don't see how he's a bust. He's a bust, straight up. Singleton's been all right, and our bench has been terrible. So looking at the All-Star break, I think the big thing is we need some guys to come up, and there's just not anybody really ready. Maloney and Bloom have been okay pitching, but the rest of our rotation has been pretty bad, and the only decent reliever has been Chad Jenkins, who is not supposed to really develop that much. So the hope is that he ends up being able to, hold through on this. But I was able to, in the draft, sign my number 1 and number 2 guys team rank. So we'll see how that looks like. Right now, I want to say we're in the wild card. And it seems like my number 1 and number 2 picks that I got ended up being pretty good. Daryl Mayfield was kind of a guy I looked at pretty late in the process. A second baseman. Didn't really want another second baseman, but you just kind of got to take it if it's there. He was the best player on my board. 84 to 99 potential, ended up with 93. Already got good contact stats. He could be up pretty soon. He's a contact guy, just like all my other second basemen, honestly. I might have to move some second basemen because I think we have like 6 of them now. Todd Walker was a closer. I knew I needed more relievers, and he was the top closer on the board. I don't like the walks per 9. I wish that was a little higher, so I think we might wait a little bit. We'll give him like a season in the minors, and hopefully that will develop. Fernando Sandoval is a little lower than I would have liked, but he's already pretty much ready to come up, and he can play in right field, which is really important because our outfield is terrible. And then I got another starter in Mark Moran and another good reliever in Manuel Castilla. And then these two were just kind of swings, and neither of them seemed to hit in Michael Chang and Howie Corona. So nothing really there. I do want to double check, see if there's anybody else that I missed. I didn't even see this guy. He was not even close. This was the guy who was originally ranked number 1 on the board when the thing started. He ended up not being as good. Good to know. I think we made the right pick. I'm pretty happy with what we got. What? Who is the... Who? You were not on the board. I never saw you once. What? Talk about a quick turnaround. We are 87-75 in a wild card team. Basically, in like our third year, maybe third year that we really kind of put full effort in, we are already a playoff team, and I don't think we're going anywhere either. So the hope is that we can continue to produce at this level because this is awesome. So let's take a look. Did we get any? We have an award winner. Brett Stinson with the Hank Aaron Award and a batting title, and Sergio Reyes third in the MVP. So fantastic start for us this year. Sergio Reyes hits 45 home runs to finish third in the MVP. We don't have anybody in the Cy Young race because, well, we can't pitch. But batting title number 1, Brett Stinson, and number 3, Hank McAtee. We have contact hitters. That's what I like to see. Ashton Singleton was third in Rookie of the Year. Would have been nice to see if he could have got that, but he didn't, so it's okay. But we'll take it. Hank Aaron, fantastic season for us. I'll be curious. Gold Glove right there for Mota. Silver Slugger for Sergio Reyes. No Silver Slugger for Brett Stinson. That goes to Colt Keith. Silver Slugger for Hank McAtee, and nobody else. So love what I'm seeing there. Taking a look at league leaders. Home runs. The league leader, Sergio Reyes, gets the home run title in 2031. Brett Stinson leads in batting average. Hank McAtee in hits. And Brett Stinson with OPS. That is awesome. So Stinson, 337, led that league. Hank McAtee with 319. I think Stinson only played 135 games. This is due to our second base. The amount of guys we have at second base means that he doesn't play as many games as I would like him to. He's going to stay at second base. However, I'm starting to think I might move some of these guys to their alternate positions and remove their backup positions so they can't play second base because I want Stinson to play every game at second. Just like McAtee plays every single game at shortstop. That's why McAtee ends with 214 hits, led the league in hits. Steve Roberts, as our DH, was second in hits with 194. He is our DH simply because he is a terrible defensive player, but plays second base. Love what I saw there. When I took a look at doubles, you see McAtee in second there. Triples, I see Reggie Bragg down there. Home runs, Sergio Reyes leading the league with 45 home runs. That is awesome. That is awesome. All right. By the way, if you can't tell, the Nationals are very, very good. We kind of knew that was coming, though. Love to see what we got there. No real good pitching from us, but let's take a look quick at our actual roster. First with the pitching rotation, because it's not very good. Nino Cruz ended up putting it together here. So Nino Cruz, I think, can take a starting role next season. I put him in the bullpen because of how poorly he was there. I think he can start next year. Cordero was not good. Calero, not good. Nomo, not good. Snell was awful. We actually kept him in the minors as much as possible just to develop him. He was pitching at like a 10 ERA. Guerra put something together at least. 4.94. Was not. Oh, his potential went up though. And Chad Jenkins, one of the best relievers. 50 saves for us with Chad Jenkins. 2.42 ERA. I love to see this. He's going to stay relieving for us, even though we've got Guerra and all these other guys coming. Chad Jenkins is going to stay my closer because that is awesome. Watanabe was not good. Maloney was 386, 121 whip. Like to see that. Nate Bloom took that spot, 305, 120. Ojeda, good. I thought he was going to be a reliever because that stamina was low. I still think he ends up being a long reliever, but love to see it. And Diaz was not good either. And I know our minor league pitcher's not very good as well. Watanabe's the disappointing one because he's the one we paid, and he's not playing like a player that should be getting paid that much. So we'll see, I guess, with this team. When I look at this roster, let me go see who they sent down. Nobody? Good. Okay, so nobody. So Lewis James, 247. Not bad as in his platooning role this season. Benitez, 275. I mean, it's a very minimal. He's a backup catcher. He's a defensive catcher, so that's something. Salgado is awful. We'll keep paying him arbitration, though. But yeah, he's terrible. Montano had to come up simply because I used the options on accident, but he developed really, really well in AAA this year, so I'll be happy to see him up once he does come up. But Stinson, the big piece here right now, 164 hits, 337 average, 957 OPS. What's that WAR look like? Because he's a good defensive player. 7 WAR at second base. Amazing contact bat. We're going to continue trying to develop the rest of his stuff. He's never going to be a power hitter, but I mean, he hit 22 home runs, so I'll take it. He's my leadoff bat. 100%. He's our best player to me. I know Reyes, MVP race, but Reyes has a lot of weaknesses. I honestly don't think Stinson really has any. Roberts can't play defense. Really good in that DH role, though. Getting on base, what I'd like to see. Hank McAtee, I'll say, he did regress this season. It's because his potential is somewhere around that 84 range, I can tell. Every time he puts together something good, he does slip a little bit. But, I mean, I love that level of contact. He's been really good. I mean, he's Sergio Perez, right? The on-base percentage is weak. More Gary Sanchez. But, like, 45 home runs, 100 RBIs. We have a power-hitting catcher. Brian Lorenz, really good season so far. 278, 21 home runs. Like to see that as he continues to develop. Willie Mota was a little disappointing this year. 263. I'll still take it, though. Juarez in that lefty platoon. 244. Not bad. Bragg, 246 average. Whoa! 14 plus against lefties? I'll say. So at one point in the season, I looked. I think it was like in near the All-Star break before it. He was hitting 120. 120. So he put something together in the second half. He heard me talking trash, said where I said I didn't think he was going to stick around. He might. He might just stick around. We'll see. Next season, it's still not good. Okay, it's still not good. I think he's still a backup. He's still a bust. but that's not too bad. No, it's still not good, but it's not too bad. And Ashton Singleton as our first baseman, not bad, in third in the Rookie of the Year race. We've got some guys coming. I have a feeling that JJ Mathis, I'm going to bring up this year. He was hitting 300 like all year in the minors. I'm going to bring him up. We're going to switch his position, though, to center field when we bring him up, so we don't have another second baseman. He's going to come up next season. Caruth was up all year and was not nothing really special there. And I think Jason Hurley was up all year and also not very good either. Get some, nothing really special there either. So next season, I think we're going to get some position, but let's take a look first. I think we've got a really good shot of doing pretty well here. I do want to show, I want to say, I'm in the minors. Oops. Standing, okay, they only went 92 and 70. There were parts of the year where they were like 20, 30 games ahead of us in the division. Like huge lead. They were down. Oh, the Mariners were dominant in the AL. Okay. So let's see how we do. Taking on the St. Louis Cardinals, we're going to go Watanabe, Maloney, and then Bloom. Watanabe hopefully will be able to put together a good first game here for us. And I'm excited to see a chance of us getting through this first round. As I sim through the date, we do lose 2-1 in the first game. No offense there. As I look at game 2, Maloney versus Estrada, we win that one barely 6-5. That's going to give us a game 3, Nate Bloom versus Pablo Cortez. Can we pull it off? No, we lose 1-7 as Nate Bloom falls apart in the postseason. Gives up 7 runs in this game. And our offense just pretty stagnant throughout the playoffs. But I'm very happy. We made it to the playoffs already this early, 2031. And I'm pretty excited about the chances that we can make some serious playoff runs now that we have this team as the Red Sox defeat the Nationals in the 2031 World Series. It is 2032, and we are going to try to run it back from where we were last season, seeing if we can make it to the playoffs once again as our second real, actually contending roster that we have now put together. As you can see, we're still the 29th ranked. I think we still have some major gaps in our roster, but I'm pretty happy with where we are going and we're developing in this way. I'd say looking at our pitching rotation, overalls are going to tell a really good story, though I'm not necessarily certain on the actual lineup sake. We're going to throw Ojeda down to the relief. He's got 69 stamina. He's been really, really good. I kind of want him as a long reliever just because I feel like he'd be the best fit there. Cordero is going to stay there because he's been the least consistent. And then I did bring Matt Snell back up, though I'm willing to send him right back down if he sucks again, but he's our best, highest potential pitcher. Should end up being a stud, but I don't know. Jenkins is going to stay in this relief role. Guerrero is going to stay in the setup role. We're going to keep our bullpen, Guerrero and Noma right here as the same. I don't think anybody from AAA will be coming up. Kaminsky has been really, really bad down there, so I don't have a lot of faith. In fact, Keller, Kaminsky, we're kind of sitting in a position where I think some of these guys are decent who are in AA. I might have to move them up to AAA just because of that, but we're making some room. The whole is whether or not Watanabe plays like his contract. I think I might have overpaid him considering the 62 stamina. To me, I was like, okay, this is the ace. He's the number one pitcher. He had been really, really good, high potential, really high walks per 9. But when I look at this now, I'm starting to think he might just be a reliever. And you can't pay $30 million. So I'm going to try to stick him out as a starter, but he is a 3 starter with 62 stamina. I think he might be going to the bullpen if he can't fill this out. And then we have a $30 million long reliever, which sucks. But let's just hope he puts it together this season. And we brought Nino Cruz over to the starting rotation as we are going to run Watanabe, Maloney, Bloom, Cruz, and Thjs for the beginning of this season. When it comes to the lineup, one thing that we made a change of is we did bring up JJ Mathis. I moved him to center field, which was one of his secondaries. I removed second base as a position that he could play because I want to get more chances for Brett Stinson. I think Salgado is another guy who could be in this position where maybe I need to remove him or just, get rid of him entirely so that he doesn't take any of Stinson's, games. But for now, we will stick with Salgado, and if I have to, I'll move up John Sawyer in that place instead. Right now, that Mathis is going to be full-time center field, or I guess center field against lefties so that Bragg can come out because he's not good against lefties. And righties, he will be right field so Bragg can come in and, Juarez can go onto the bench with Lewis James staying as a permanent bench fixture now. That means that our top 5 guys in our lineup are pretty Stinson, Roberts, McAtee, Reyes, and Lorenz, with Mota, I think, hopefully being able to put together a good season here. But if he ends up struggling, that's where John Sawyer comes in. We also moved Caruth down to the minors and created space because that means that Hurley doesn't come in for third base. Mota, basically the whole idea is let's get these guys to play more, and the weak guys in the lineup, the outfielders specifically, play a little bit less, and we'll see what we can do this season. I'm hoping that we can remain in a playoff hunt, but I can't tell necessarily. We need the same type of consistency from these top 4 to 5 guys. Right now, they put together some really good seasons, but I'm a little bit concerned with McAtee's regression. Can he put up 214 again? Probably not. Can Stinson continue to play at this level? I hope so. I hope he's a 400 OBP guy, especially as we give him more at bats. And Reyes, keep giving me that power. 40 home runs. I don't know if he could do it again, but I really hope so. So this season, can we make it to the playoffs? That's really our focus. I think this is the lineup. I don't really see many guys that are on the wave that I'm like, I really need to make the space for. We've got Fernando Maravel maybe, who's down here, who could be a guy who could take a spot soon. And then we have in the pitching rotation like Julio and Keller and Walker, but nothing really specific that I'm like, I need to have this guy up right now. So let's hope that our guys will just perform, and I don't have a 10 ERA pitching rotation 2 months into the season. And so at the All-Star break, we have 2 All-Star starting pitchers. Philip Watanabe, look at that. Look at that. He's developing his game. 2.82 ERA, 1.2 whip. Love to see that. Doesn't pitch a lot of innings, but that does not matter. Our ace is acing. And then Pedro Ojeda, moving into the bullpen, long relief. He's also an all-star starter as a long reliever in that role with a 2.26 and a 1.1 whip right now. As I move through, we have a reliever. Chad Jenkins is a 0.25 ERA, 34 saves so far this season. Amazing start for him. And I don't see a closer. So it looks like our pitching staff has really kind of lit it up. Sergio Reyes with a 289 average and 28 home runs. I think Stinson is a little bit down this year. And it looks like Hank McAtee is not an all-star either. So our all-stars are going to be 3 pitchers and our catcher, Sergio Reyes. Love to see that so far. We are, I want to say, first in the NL East. We are dominant in this case now, the number 1 contact team, 12th ranked. Basically, if you are not understanding where the switch has come from, we went from being more of a contact-based team because I had contact coaches. I switched those coaches this offseason to be pitching. So we increased the walks per 9, hits per 9, all that stuff in pitching. And that seems to have worked out in our favor as we are now 3rd in pitching. I love to see it. And I'll show you the draft results as well. We had a later pick. I did not get all the guys I wanted, but I think we did okay. It's like having the first pick was a limitation because apparently I was okay without it. So Orlando Pinto, 3rd baseman, he was unranked. Got him, 82 potential, 73 overall. Dude could make the majors like right now if we need him. Dominic Porcelli, I just saw catchers looked pretty good. Took him. He was unranked. Got him 40. With our other first-round pick, 87 potential. Love to see it. Ryan Rankin, another good catcher. 92 potential, 62 overall. Not good contact stats, by the way, by these guys. But defensive catchers? Yeah, why not? Chet Wright. Wow, was that a good pick for us. 61 overall, 98 potential. Love that pick. Christopher Bellamy, 90 potential, 51 overall. He's not going to play. Benito Salazar, 91 potential, 44 overall. He's not going to play. Sam Wang. He's not good, but 82 potential? Yeah. Roberto Matos, 57 overall. He not that good either. 94 potential though. And just like that, we've done it. 95 and 67. We win the division, continuously going up one step every time. We went from being the worst team in the league to about a 60-some team, somewhere in the middle range, a couple games out of the wild card, to a wild card, to winning our division right here at 95 and 67. We'll be taking on the winner of the wild card playoff game. And that means that we are also have a bye, 2 seed. You love to see it. This season has gone phenomenally. I did make some changes throughout it. There was actually a point where we were like, I think easily the number 1 team. We had a little bit of a slip up somewhere around September, in August, but I think we put things, or not August, August. But we put things together, and you can see we have some award winners, and I already know who it is because, oh my God, these guys put together an insane season. 4 award winners. Chad Jenkins with the Delivery Man of the Year award. The Hank Aaron goes to Sergio Reyes. The National League MVP goes to Sergio Reyes, and the batting title to Brett Stinson. A dominant lineup as Sergio Reyes hit 56 home runs with 155 RBIs, hitting over 300. That is an insane draft pick for us. My best draft pick probably that I've ever made, to be honest. To grab a catcher like that, and him to be just this phenomenal, this consistently. I mean, look at these contact stats going up like this. I think I have him in the batting cages, but like, oh my God, he is going up crazy. 99 power across the board. He hits 56 home runs in only 133 games with 155 RBIs. His OPS is over 1,000, as he is just a dominant bat at catcher. One of the best catchers I've ever seen in this game. Chris Estrada with the Cy Young. Brett Stinson winning the batting title, hitting 321 this year to get back-to-back, barely beating out Luis Arias on the Cubs, but 16 home runs for him. Chad Jenkins, a reliever of the year with a .44 ERA. One of the greatest relief seasons ever by Chad Jenkins. 58 saves, only 3 blown saves throughout this season. He gave up 12 walks. He gave up 39 hits, 1 home run. Amazing season from him as our reliever. And JJ Mathis was second in the Rookie of the Year. Really, that's a Rookie of the Year. This is a ridiculous, like, why is this guy the Rookie of the Year? No, JJ Mathis deserves Rookie of the Year. And then Sergio Reyes. I mean, 155 RBIs is crazy, but hey, that's what happens when you have the guys that are hitting in front of him. Brian Lawrence also gets a Gold Glove in left field. And then Silver Slugger Sergio Reyes at catcher. Nothing for Stinson. Nothing for McAtee. He had a little bit of a down year relatively. But yes, amazing season there. Take a look at league leaders. Saves, Chad Jenkins. And 4 hitters, Sergio Reyes, Sergio Reyes, Sergio Reyes, Sergio Reyes, Sergio Reyes, and a little Brett Stinson in there too. As Stinson hits 321. And Reyes hits 304. You can even see McAtee with 301. So we had 3 guys hit over 300 this season. No 200 hit guys because McAtee did not hit as well, didn't hit the 214. And even if I wanted Stinson to play, he was never going to be able to play 162 games. Doubles, I saw Mathis was up there. And home runs by a mile. 36 home runs for the second place with Fernando Tatis. 56 home runs for Sergio Reyes this season. I mean, just crazy. I mean, I guess he beat it, but he led the league by 16 over James Wood. 155, just an insane year for Sergio Reyes. Let's go take a look at our actual stats in our lineup as we go look at our pitching rotation. First at the bullpen, Pedro Ojeda. Amazing bullpen arm. I'm actually going to switch him to a reliever next year so that way he can continue to possibly develop. And then Cordero, decent in that relief role as well. Calero right here, decent in his 38 innings. Nomo was good. Keller, I brought up, for the time. The September call-ups. Guerra was not bad. Chad Jenkins, one of the greatest relief seasons ever. Watanabe did kind of come back to average, but 3.6 123 whip and 216 strikeouts. We will take it from Watanabe. An amazing season for him. Maloney had a little bit of a down year. Snell was in the bullpen, actually pitching really, really well. I moved him over to the starting rotation because Bloom was terrible. So just did that. Nino Cruz wasn't really that good either. And then Andres Diaz was all right. I think if I go take a look, Nate Bloom was pretty bad. 5.56 this past year. Was really the only disappointment in our rotation this season, as our pitching has significantly improved this year. But I think what we really want to see is the lineup. First, we did bring up John Sawyer. He was very good as a DH third baseman for us this year. Only one home run. I know he's a contact hitter first. But 104 hits, 272 average, 360 on base. I mean, yeah, I'm going to keep him up. He's really, really good. He can be our DH as much as he needs to be. They sent Jason Juarez down too. 344 on base. He walks. That's what I need to see from him. Not bad to see, and I think that is it for guys that they sent down. So, oh, no, Ashton Singleton got sent down as well. Now, he did have a bad year. 216 average, 280 on base. I don't like to see that, but we will bring him back up for the playoffs, and I honestly think he still has some room to grow, so I'm not that worried about it, but it's a little disappointing. Willie Mota had a little bit of a down year, 247, 312 on base. I mean, it was okay, but he was really bad in the beginning, and that was actually why I brought up John Sawyer to kind of have him up there. Lewis James I sent down right away because he was not good. Benitez, backup catcher. Salgado, I think he's done for us, and then Montana wasn't actually up here, and then Caruth wasn't up either. Stinson, 321, 16 home runs for him this season. A little bit of a power down from last year, but so the slugging is down a little bit and the OPS is down a little bit, but the on base and the average is about the same. Actually, no. I mean, last year was a better year for him all around the board, but we'll take it. I think defensively he improved a little, at least. A little of improvement there, and I mean, 2 batting titles in a row for Brett Stinson. Steve Roberts is where we actually saw a lot. Oh, wow. Power lefties went up. But where we saw a lot of kind of regression, I would say. Maybe this season was a little bit more of a fluke, the 290, but he dropped back down to 243 as he worked on his power over his contact. Hank McAtee ended off the season pretty cold, but 300, 370 on base. Decent season again for Hank McAtee. Sergio Reyes, amazing year. Lorenz did get hurt for us, 273, 470 slugging, Gold Glove. So still a really good year for Lorenz as one of our best all-around guys. I think J.J. Mathis deserved the Rookie of the Year this year as he had 150 hits, 54 RBIs, 7 home runs. Probably would have got it if I had him a little higher in the lineup, but we will take it from him. And Bragg was Reggie Bragg. I think he's got to go to the bench, but Mathis, Lorenz, Juarez, Mathis, Lorenz, I don't know. Or do we keep Bragg? Because it's tough. I really don't think I have an outfielder yet. So, as we look at the playoffs, we will be playing the winner of the Dodgers and the Reds. I'm going to fix this lineup, and then we will see who we play. And so it looks like we will be taking on the Dodgers. First game, Watanabe versus Shaheen. Second game, we have Snell versus Bruns. Third one, Maloney versus Hunter Green. I'm hoping we can pull this off early. I'm not very confident in all our pitching staff, but hopefully these guys can pull it off. So Watanabe versus Shaheen in game 1. 6-4 victory. Love to see that as Cordero pulls that off. Looks like a bullpen game. Shaheen gets blown up in the first inning, so that helps us. Bruns versus Snell in game 2. We do lose that one. Snell is not able to put that together. Maloney versus Hunter Green in game 3. We win 10-3. Can we pull this off? Nino Cruz versus Bobby Miller in game 4. We win that. We will be taking on the Padres in the NLCS. So, I think I'm going to rotate that back. We will let... Actually, no. I have enough faith in Andres Diaz. Right? Yeah. Andres Diaz we will let go. Andres Diaz versus Hoyt Merced in game 1. I mean, our offense didn't show up, but also he didn't do bad. Looks like the bullpen did. So, Watanabe versus Cash Mayfield in game 2. We lose that one 4-5. Tommy Kaminsky, man. Why is he even here? Okay, Matt Snell versus Yuri Perez in game 3. 11-6 victory. Or unless, sorry, font small, 11-8, my bad. 11-8 victory. As we pull that one off, Matt Snell beating Yuri Perez in an offensive shootout. Dan Maloney versus Chase Silseth here in game 4. 2-22. What happened, guys? We gave up 6 home runs. Who gave up all the runs? All the guys that didn't play this year. Yuck. Yuck. Okay. Wow. All right, let's see what we got. All right. Mental reset. Down 3-1. Nino Cruz, Boston Bateman. We win that one. Okay. 4-3. Chad Keller. I hate it. I hate it. Andres Diaz. Hoyt Merced. Game 6. 6-3. Okay. Watanabe. Cash Mayfield. Can we do this? And with the pitch. Oh my God, we did it. And we're taking on the A's. The Marlins versus the A's. We just came back 3-1. Oh, Watanabe. Watanabe. I love you, Watanabe. I'm so glad I paid you. And Chad Jenkins and Guerrero. Look at the game where none of the bad bullpen arms came in. We were okay. Huh. I might go make a change quick and remove all those bullpen arms before we play the A's. Okay, so got rid of Kaminsky, got rid of Calero, brought back Bloom to put in a bat. Okay, something different. I just whatever. Marlins, A's. Watanabe versus Murray Rivero in game 1. Can we pull this one off? 2-1 victory. Henry Nomo gets the win over Burt McCallum. Good to see. All right, we are up 1-0. Matt Snell, Nick Lodolo. Can we do this? 4-5 loss. Andres Cordero loses that one to Burt McCallum. All right, 1-1. Nino Cruz versus Vince Wexler in game 3. 6-7 as Ojeda loses. Oh, I hate to see that. Okay, we're down 2-1. Andres Diaz versus Jeff Hart in game 4. 4-3 victory. It is 2-2 for Dan Maloney versus Brian Waldron. Dan Maloney has been terrible so far. But I don't trust anybody. So Dan Maloney it is. I shouldn't have trusted him. Okay, we are down. It is game 6. Let's get right into it. Watanabe versus Rivero and then Snell versus Wexler. That's going to be our last 2. So I'm going to do what I always do. It is time to watch. We are going to quick manage this game, and we are going to see what we can do. So, is anybody playing poorly? McAtee. Reyes isn't really getting the power. Sawyer's been really good. Juarez has not. Is anybody worth bringing in? Singleton? Over Moda, maybe? Yeah. We'll do Singleton over Moda. And Reggie Bragg, I guess. I gotta do it. Okay. That's gonna be the lineup. Let's see what we can do here. They score right away. Watanabe gives up a run. All right, Hank McAtee. And we don't get any... Guys, what is going on? Amazing pitching staff all year. What happened, guys? Okay, there's a walk. McAtee, come on. Fielder's choice. Come on, Rob. Okay, all right. It's still 3-0. We're still in it. Stinson doesn't get anything. Home run from Reyes, though. Singleton strikes out. Lorenz also gets out. I'm going to make a pitching change. Here, we're going to go... Bloom. Okay, gets through that. Bragg flies out. Mathis with a single. Sawyer gets a single. Man on the corners for Hank McAtee. 1 run scored. Runner thrown out, though. Okay. Roberts, can you get in McAtee? Error. We have man on first and second for Brett Stinson. Hines out. Okay, we'll let Bloom go. Okay, he pops out. All right. So, Reyes, grounds out. Singleton, grounds out. Lorenz, flies out. Gets out of that one. Bloom does. Reggie Bragg. Why did I even bring him in? Walk by Jeff Mathis. JJ Mathis. Can Sawyer. Pitching change to Richard Bautista. 2 men on for Hank McAtee. 1 out. 1 run scores. Let's go. Hank McAtee with an RBI single. It is a 3-3 game here in the 7th. Roberts, you got this. Strikes out. Okay. Stinson, you're 0 for 3. You are the best hitter on the team. Fielder's choice. Okay. We're going to make a pitching change. They are righty, lefty, righty. I'm going Ojeda. Okay, Ojeda gets out of it. Sergio Reyes, give me another homer. Strikes out. Singleton, strikes out. Single for Lorenz. Bragg, I'm going to pinch hit. Or no, I'm not. We're going to do it. I should have pinched hit. No! Ojeda, no! Okay. JJ Mathis versus Johnny Rose. Grounds out. Sawyer flies out. Let's enter the game. And let's watch the end of this for us. Can we pull this off here in Game 6? Hank McAtee. Let me go team select. We're going to watch this one. Hank McAtee versus Johnny Rose. Game 6 of the World Series. I mean, if anybody's going to do it, it's the top of our lineup. We've got McAtee, we've got Roberts, we've got Stinson, and we have Reyes. The next 4 guys up. But I don't know. Okay. With the pitch, 0-1 count. Swings and misses on the changeup. That's an 0-2 count. Last pitch for the Marlins here in 2032. Can he do it? That ball goes high. 1-2 count for Hank McAtee. I need to see it. Can you get this off of Johnny Rose? Please, Hank. Please. Oh, I can't believe he didn't swing at that. 2-2. That ball was outside. Rose has got a quick delivery. That's grounded foul. Still 2-2. In the bottom of the 9th here. Come on. McAtee, hit this one into play. Hit this one into play. Strikes out swinging. The Oakland A's will win the World Series over the Miami Marlins. But guess what? We'll be back. We'll be back. We need this. We needed this wake-up call to say, hey, what happened to the pitching, guys? We'll be back. Running it back. 2033, we didn't really make any changes, to be honest. The only real change I did was I decided that Todd Walker was going to come up. I'm going to leave Chad Keller up for now. I think I sent Bloom down in his place. I mean, I could bring Bloom back up if he ends up being pretty good this season over in AAA, but I don't know. I feel like I got to flesh out this bullpen a little bit more. Something about how that pitching staff just collapsed in the playoffs kind of rubbed me the wrong way. Lineup-wise, exactly the same lineup as last year. We are going to run with Sawyer all season long. And I'm hoping... Dude, Reggie Bragg. You put it together? I give you so much leeway. But okay. I'm hoping that this season we can finally put it together for a World Series. I think last year was a nice run. We got a little surprised by the Padres, and then obviously we lose there against the A's in the World Series. But I think we can make it now. Sadly, that means I don't think that any of these guys that we see in AAA or any of our minors guys that we have left, I don't think many of these top prospects are going to be coming back. I don't think we're going to see much of them. Darryl Mayfield, Kaminsky, Walker, Chet Wright, who we just drafted, all these guys. I don't think we're going to see them. That's okay. I'm I'm glad. I think we drafted very well. I'm not going to show any more drafts because I think we're winning the World Series this year. So, let's see you at the World Series. Oh my God. 92 and 70. Not as good as the last year. Honestly, I'm happy we got 90 wins. Kind of a shock to me. Pretty much the majority of this season, we were sitting, I guess, not close to 500, slightly above it most of the time. And part of the reason it felt like we didn't have as good of a season is because Washington was just better than us all year. And so wildcard team seems to be the right move for us. But that sucks because, honestly, this feels like the team that should be better than the last one. But they didn't play like that this year. So 92 and 70. Okay, a good thing I had the lineups wrong because it went to jump right into that, which means I bet you the league leaders is also broken. It is. Okay, so I won't be able to look at that. I accidentally pressed Sim Season, so my bad on that. But okay, taking a look at awards. We do have an award winner, a back-to-back MVP for Sergio Reyes, who wins it with 48 home runs and 154 RBIs this year, with Sawyer Bai from the Nationals in second, and Carmen Juarez, the former National, in third. We are second in the Cy Young with Nino Cruz going 19-4 with a 3.04 ERA and 200 strikeouts. We will take that. Not as good of a season from Stinson as it looks like Carmen Juarez goes out and wins the batting title this year. Ooh, Robbie, oh my God. I feel like I've looked at all those guys, but okay. No Rookie of the Year race for us. We didn't really have anybody there, and Sergio Reyes finishes third in the Hank Aaron Award. So not as good of a year for us this year, and I think you're going to see this with our lineup. So first, let's go to the minors. Andres Diaz did get sent down because he pitched with a 5.11 ERA this year. Not very good. 1.49 whip. I feel like you could have predicted this, though, if you would have looked at that whip rating and know that that was not very low. Nate Bloom, I never brought back up. And I think I had Eddie Julio come up and was not good either. If I look at the bullpen, Todd Walker was not very good. And this is going to be a pretty consistent thing. If I look at the MLB, Keller, 6.33 ERA, 1.61 whip. Not good. Andres Cordero, 4.66 ERA, 1.34. Not good. Kaminsky's there, of course. 4.12, 1.27 from Nomo. Not good. Ojeda, 3.97, 1.41 whip. Not good. Guerra, 3.89, 1.35 whip. Not good. Calero, 5.25 ERA, 1.25 whip. Honestly, okay, that's not that bad. The ERA's not good, though. And Chad Jenkins, obviously couldn't keep up whatever he did those last two seasons. 9 blown saves this year, 4.93, 1.23 whip. Not that great. Honestly, whip's okay. Seems like he just gave up a lot more runs this year. The starting lineup, though, not as bad. Watanabe, 3.23 ERA, 1.27 whip. I mean, he's a 99 overall at this point. You kind of need him to be this good. I would hope so. Matt Snell, 4.87 ERA, 1.34 whip, 96 overall. Nino Cruz, second in Cy Young, was a good pitcher for us. 3.04 ERA, 1.21 whip, with 203 strikeouts. Dan Maloney, 3.35. He had a bad year last year. He is back to somewhat closer to normal this year with 3.35. Why is Joe Random here? Okay. MLB is really smart. Taking a look at the lineup, who'd they send down? I don't think I had Jason Hurley up at any point, so they sent down Juarez, who 218, 275 on base percentage. Yeah. Sorry, buddy. Seems like that's the end of the road for you. If I look at the actual lineup, though, Willie Mota, 242 average, 290 on base, and he regressed across the board. I mean, that's bad. That's a pretty bad regression across the board for Willie Mota. Benitez, off the bench, not too bad. Salgado, improving, but still sucks. And then Montano didn't actually play. Stinson, not as good of a year for him this year. 155 hits, 296 and a 394 on base percentage. Still good, but not the batting title level that we had been seeing from him before. Still 5.6 WAR. Still very, very good. Steve Roberts got his average back up to about 299, 365 on base percentage, 18 homers. So the power is still there from last season. He is, but he actually is getting those hits and getting back on base again. So Roberts, good season from him. McAtee had a bit of a down year, but 280, 355, not bad, 11 home runs. He seemed to put it together closer to the end then, because he started off pretty weak. Sergio with another MVP, 46 home runs, 172 hits, 313 average, 347 or 44 on base, another 1,000 OPS season with a 8.3 WAR at the catcher position. 2 MVPs in a row, back to back for him. The Wrens had a little bit of a down year, 258, but had 26 home runs this season. John Sawyer in his second year, big improvement, 300, 372 on base percentage. Love to see that. 13 home runs in that and 196 hits as a DH. Very, very good from him. Mathis, coming off of what should have been his rookie of the year, got some power, 21 home runs, but didn't see as much, I guess, contact as he did last year. But still kept the walks up. Very, very good. 825 OPS. Reggie Bragg hit 27 home runs. Seeing some power come around. I think he led the league in stolen bases from what I saw. And, I mean, almost up to an 800 OPS. WAR, 5 WAR. Reggie Bragg putting it together a little bit. And Ashton Singleton, 269, back to normal. Bats have been fine. Pitching staff this year, terrible. So, will this postseason end up being the same way as last year? Honestly, looks like it should be because the pitching staff looks awful. But last year the pitching staff looked amazing and it fell apart. So I don't know. We have San Diego and Washington on this side. Oakland, by the way, I did see, I noticed at different times that I think all of their pitchers and all their lineup was gone, got poached by other teams. So, big question. Can we pull this off? We have the Cardinals in the first round. And I should probably go through and fix my lineups because I don't want Joe Random. And so we're going to start off our 2033 playoffs with Nino Cruz at the very top, Watanabe, and then Dan Maloney. I think that these have been the 3 best pitchers that we've had this season. They're the ones I have the most faith in. So my hope is that these 3 will be the guys. Nino Cruz versus Carlos Vera in Game 1. 5-3 victory as Pedro Ojeda gets the win, meaning we got some in the later innings. Watanabe, our 99 overall against Pablo Cortez in Game 2. 5-1. We are going to be taking on the Padres here in round 2. Hey, our AA team. Doing well in playoffs. Dan Maloney versus Merced, then Matt Snell, and then Eddie Julio, who I'm going to have in that Game 3. I might shift that, but we will see where we are at. I kind of do like the idea of having Watanabe and oh my God, Nino Cruz for the last 2 games. So let's do it. Dan Maloney versus Hoyt Merced in Game 1 of this series. 6-4 victory. We pulled that one off. Pedro Ojeda right back at it. Okay, Game 2, Matt Snell versus Jake Bloss. Can we pull this one off? 5-4 victory as Matt Snell gets that one. We are up 2-0. Eddie Julio versus Simeon Woods Richardson in Game 3. We win that one 10-7 with the sweep. We are now going to go to the NLCS and take on the Washington Nationals. Nino Cruz, Watanabe, and Dan Maloney as we take on our division rivals. And the Nationals, I mean, we knew since we saw their first drafts, this team was going to be a threat. So, can we take them out this time? Nino Cruz is Willie Sierra in the first game. Oh, we lose that one. Not enough offense, and Henry Nomo gets the loss in that one. Philip Watanabe versus Kyle Harrison in Game 2. We win that one 6-3. So Watanabe puts together a really good game here, as we are now going to go to Dan Maloney in Game 3 versus Luis De Leon. And we win that one 5-4. Okay, we are up 2-1. Matt Snell versus Ricky Tiedemann in Game 4. Can he pull it off? 3-1 victory. We are up 3 on the Washington Nationals. Eddie Julio versus Willie Sierra in Game 5. Can we pull this one out? We do. 1 loss so far. We are going to be taking on, did that say the White Sox or the Angels? The Angels. Awesome. Okay. The Angels. Look, this is the year. let's go take a look at that roster. So, actually lineups, Let's go take a look at this Angels team, see what they have. It's 2033. What are they rolling with? What does the team look like? Jose Ramirez at second base. Different Jose Ramirez, by the way. George Lombard Jr., Kobe Mayo, and Jordan Walker are their two big bats in the middle. And then Cole Fontenelle, Nolan Shanuel, Bull Naylor, Edmund Hoyer. I don't know any of these names. We're decent. Okay. All right. Decent team. Kind of a surprise to see them there. Pitching rotation for the Angels. Pretty good, though. Andrew Painter, Diego Ponce, don't know that. Robbie Snelling, Jaime Dominguez, William C. All right. This is also the team that just had an amazing draft not that long ago. Obviously, we didn't see any of these guys, but they have a pretty decent pitching staff. Seems to be that's how they got their way here. They're pitching. So, can we take down the Angels here in our World Series? And so, game one, Nino Cruz, Andrew Painter. Can we pull this one off? 10-1 victory for the Marlins. Here we go. Game two, Philip Watanabe versus Diego Ponce. We win that one to 11-4. Game three, Dan Maloney versus Robbie Snelling. We do lose that one. That's only our second loss of this playoffs, but we are up 2-1 on the Angels here. For game four, Matt Snell versus Jaime Dominguez. We lose that one as well. It is now 2 as Pedro Ojeda gets lit up in this game. Eddie Julio against Andrew Painter in game 5. Please don't let us lose this one. We just lose 3 in a row. We are now down 2-5. That means that we are going to go here into game 6 and game 7 with Nino Cruz and Philip Watanabe now down in the series against the Angels. I do kind of want to take a look. 3 runs in the third in that one. We were winning this one, gave that up in the 7th and the 8th. And in this one, probably early. In the 6th, they scored 6 runs. So a little bit of a collapse, about 3 games in a row here. So game 6 and game 7, we're going to go Nino Cruz and we're going to go Diego Ponce. We are going to quick manage both of them. Oh, I forgot. Okay, I have to advance the day. Okay, so let's do this. Quick manage. Nino Cruz, they only had 85 wins. Okay, all right. Come on, guys, we got this. So how's everybody doing so far? It looks like Reyes is a little cold. Singleton's cold. Sawyer's cold. But I'm not going to change anything. This team's been really good except for these last 3 games. I'm hoping that we can end whatever this slide is right now as we get into Game 6 of the World Series. Nino Cruz versus Jose Ramirez for the first batter. Can he get out of the first? He does. Solo home run from Steve Roberts gives us a 1-0 lead. That's what I like to see. Stinson strikes out. Reyes grounds out. We are going to have a lead early here in this game as Lorenz gets a double. Bragg strikes out. Mathis strikes out as well. And a solo home run from Keegan ties the game up. Single from Shanuel. Strikeout from Rada. Double play. So it is back to a 1-1 game. John Sawyer grounds out. McAtee grounds out. And another ground out. Okay. Nino feels like he's struggling a little bit. And our offense just is not waking up. Single from Lorenz. Walk from Bragg. Hit by pitch. Bases loaded for John Sawyer. Pop up. McAtee. Grand slam. Hank McAtee gets a grand slam. We are now up 5-1 here in game 6. This really opens up what we can do. I'm going to let Nino pitch a little bit longer. Okay, never mind. We're making a pitching change. Do I go to Ojeda, who is normally a pretty safe bet? I need a strikeout. Righty, lefty, lefty. Okay, I think we are going to go Ojeda. Let's go! Double play. Pedro Ojeda gets us through that real tight squeeze. We are in the bottom of the 6th. They switch to Eddie Villarreal as we get Men on the corners for Richie Bragg. We're going to go for a sac fly. He gets it in. It's now 6-1. Single from Mathis. Men on the quarters. Pop up as Ojeda. Gives up a home run. But I'm pretty happy with a 4-run lead. I don't want to waste too much of our bullpen in case we need him for game 7. Ojeda gets through there. I'm going to give it to probably Walker to finish that off. Single from Bragg gets us men on first and second. Bases loaded for John Sawyer. 2 runs scored, 8-2. And a ground out there. You know what? I'll let Ojeda try to finish it. Okay, we let Ojeda finish it. We win game 6. That means we are now going to move into game 7 here with Nino Cruz getting the win, Ojeda with the save. We're going to go into game 7 now. Watanabe, it's all on the line. Nope, advanced day. Okay. Watanabe versus Robbie Snelling. Snelling has gotten lit up in the playoffs. Gives us a little hope. Gives us a little hope. We're going to run our City Connects. Okay, I'll take it. Whatever. 99 overall starting pitcher. Can't get much better than that. It will be a bullpen game, but it's only going to be a bullpen game because he does not have a lot of stamina. And we have the bullpen arms if we need them. So Watanabe here to start off game 7. Our ace against their ace. This is going to be a battle as Sergio Reyes hits a solo home run. The 2-time MVP gives us a lead here in game 7 of the World Series. Ground out from Ashton Singleton, strikeout from Lorenz, and a strikeout from Bragg. Watanabe strikes out Keegan, hit by pitch on Shanuel, single, men on first and second for Ramirez. Bases loaded, strikeout, fielder's choice. Okay, gets out of the jam. Mathis with a double to start it off. Ken Sawyer hit him. Men on first and second, McAtee. Okay, men on the corners for Roberts. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go for a sac fly. We need that extra. Oh, and he strikes out. Instinson pops up. That sucks. Okay. Missed opportunity, but deflating. Deflating right there, as it is now 1-1. Single from Reyes. Walk from Singleton. 2 runs scored as Brian Lorenz hits a double to get us a 3-1 lead here in the 4th. Walk from Reggie Bragg. I want to say Richie. Mathis with a walk. Bases loaded for Sawyer. I'm not going to do any sacrificing. 2 runs scored for John Sawyer. 5-1 lead. 3-run home run for Hank McAtee. 2 massive home runs here in game 6 and game 7. We are now up 8-1. Steve Roberts with a single. Strikeout for Stinson and a strikeout for Reyes as we hit around the order in the 4th to take an 8-1 lead. I'm going to let McAtee go through that. And Lorenz with a single. Fielder's choice, Bragg. I'm going to steal second. Stolen base. Let's go. Mathis gets him in. JJ Mathis hits him in. 9-1. Strikeout. Let's go. Man. Do I want to risk it? Nah, we're going to switch it. We're going to go to Cordero here. Ground out. Single. 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 Fielder's choice. Walk. Okay, why did I do this? Got cocky. Fly out. Okay. All right. Nope. Don't do that. Strikeout. Walk for Stinson. Reyes strikes out. Singleton flies out. Single. Pop out. Single. Fly out. I'm going to switch again. Not to Guerra. We're going to go 1 pitch. We'll go Matt Snell. Strikeout. Good. He's a strikeout pitcher. Figured that would be a good move. If I need a strikeout, he's the guy to go to. Mathis gets a single. Fly out. This is the top of the 8th. We will make a pitching change. Do I have any other lefties? I don't want to go to Jenkins. Okay. Kaminsky. Line out. Ground out. Oh my God, Kaminsky got through an inning. Let's go. Bottom of the 8th. Hank McAtee gets a double. Ground out for Roberts. Walk for Stinson. Fly out for Reyes. Singleton flies out. And it's time for Chad Jenkins. Strikeout, or ground out. Let's enter the game. Chad Jenkins, Game 7 of the World Series. I just want to see it. I want to see it as it ends. Give me that team select. We're going to the middle. Chad Jenkins here against Jose Ramirez and the Angels in the 9th. Pops up. Foul. As we are up 9-2 in Game 7 of the 2033 World Series. 12-6 curve in the dirt. 1-1 count. Chad Jenkins with the pitch. A big swing and strike down to a 1-2 count to the last pitch the Angels are on. Can we finish this off? Chad Jenkins with the pitch. Swing and strike. The Miami Marlins win the World Series in 2033. We've done it. Thanks in part to every player we've drafted coming in clutch in this season. I mean, dude, Reggie Bragg came in clutch. We got a stolen base out of him. We saw Hank McAtee hit 2 massive home runs. We saw amazing pitching out of Watanabe and Nino Cruz and the entire bullpen this game. Stinson got us here. Reyes got us here. And we are going to come away with the trophy right now. We did it. 2033, meaning that this took us 9 seasons. And really, when you think about it, didn't actually take us that long once we put everybody up. About 4 years once we got everybody into the majors. Once we actually consider it, I guess 5. 5 seasons in the majors to really turn it around. We win the World Series here in 2033, and I'm really happy about it. Pedro Ojeda was the first guy that we brought up, and he ended up being a major part of this. Reggie Bragg was the first player that we drafted, and he ended up being a major part of this. Who gets our World Series MVP? The playoff and the world J.J. Mathis. First overall pick in 2030, and then Hank McAtee with the playoff MVP. Honestly, he deserves everything. And Sergio Reyes had an MVP had the MVP. We carried, look at Reggie Bragg there, our first pick. Ended up getting there despite being terrible for the first 5 seasons. Helps us get it at the end. Mathis gets snubbed from a Rookie of the Year, but I think he'll take himself a World Series MVP. Hank McAtee might not have much of a ceiling, but I don't think that a ceiling matters if you consider that you are the playoff MVP for a World Series champion Miami Marlins team. You'll take it. We did it, and honestly, it's been a great ride. I love all these players that we drafted. Honestly, some of these guys, I am shocked that they ended up being as good as they were. Watanabe gets to a 99. Sergio Reyes is one of the greatest players I've ever drafted. How did he get to 99 contact? Like, how? Like, this is awesome. Brett Stinson, I love it. I mean, just, well, you can look at my lineup and see, like, the amount of contact bats. If you've been watching my rebuilds throughout this year, or if you're new to this channel and you're looking and watching this one, I love contact bats. The amount of contact bats that we drafted that were successful is crazy in this rebuild. Just everything, contact bat. It was so successful as a strategy. I mean, these guys, when they got to the majors, it took them a little bit, obviously, to develop, but just phenomenal. Chad Jenkins was amazing as a reliever. We had great pitching in the playoffs. I mean, it was the opposite of what it was in 2032, where we had amazing in the regular season and terrible in the playoffs. This time we had terrible in the regular season, amazing in the playoffs, and I will take it. I'm so happy with how this has went. The only thing I wish is I would love to be able to see how all these guys ended up, finishing out. But like, we can look at a guy like Sergio Reyes and see he has 200 home runs at the catcher spot at age 25. This is going to be the greatest catcher of all time, as long as he doesn't regress to a major point. And like, amazing pick. We had drafted a catcher before this, and he just seemed too good to be true. to pass up, I guess that's the wrong phrase to be true. Too good to pass up, and was probably one of my favorite players I think I've ever had in a rebuild, Sergio Reyes. Just amazing power. I've never had a guy like this, and he was so good. Stinson, absolutely love getting batting titles. I don't want to see this team go, but I think it's where we're going to have to end. Because guess what? It's the end of the MLB 24 season. And so with this will be my last MLB 24 rebuild. And we will prepare for MLB 25. I hope to see you. I've got lots planned. I have long form series planned. I have obviously individual rebuilds, challenge rebuilds still in place. We're going to have to experiment a lot with MLB 25. They're changing some things. And as you can see, I feel like this is the maximization of all of the scouting methods that we knew for MLB 25 or 20. Draft second baseman, draft contact guys, and it seems to work. I mean, the amount of generational talents I missed sucks, but at the same time, we drafted guys that weren't generational talents that ended up developing into them. I don't need everybody to be carbon copies of each other. We want Sergio Reyes. I want that Brett Stinson, and I'm so happy with how it went. And I can't wait to see how it goes when we get into MLB 25 and get to see all these types of players again. And so I want to thank everybody who supported me through MLB 24 this season. And if this is new and you're just joining in, you're waiting for MLB 25 to come out and you're looking for videos, I have so many more of a catalog. These are the types of challenges I like to do. And this was just a fun one. This took me a little while to record, but I'm very, very happy with how this has gone. It's been really, really fun. And we've had a lot of really, really successful drafts throughout this time. We've spent from the first pick of 2024, Reggie Bragg, a 19-year-old center fielder who seemed like a bust for the most of the time, ends up becoming a big part of this, all the way to even some of these last picks where we saw like Todd Walker make it to this team already from the 2031 draft, JJ Mathis winning the playoff or World Series MVP from the 2030 draft. We've had some guys that haven't worked out, but we have some who definitely have. Our first overall pick from, our 7th overall pick from 2026, Sergio Reyes, ending up being an absolute stud. Nino Cruz, our 49th pick from 2026, with the Cy Young runner-up. We can talk about Hank McAtee, the 36th overall pick, being a stud as well, multiple-time All-Star, playoff MVP in 2027. And we can even look at some other guys like John Sawyer, 106th overall pick in 2028, ended up being a key piece to this team as they ended up playing well. And, Chad Jenkins, reliever, 105th pick in 2025, one of the greatest relievers I've ever seen, too. And the other one, I think, to me, Brett Stinson, 39th overall pick in 2025. 93 potential at the time. I think he's a 94 overall right now. I love him. I'm so happy. I think we did a fantastic job. We missed a lot, but honestly, we built a really fun team. So thank you once again for coming along, sticking around. If you are here at the end, please leave a like on the video and subscribe to see MLB 25. We'll see you soon. Adios.